You're on camera. Say something.
Last night and night before, there was 3 women walking down the street that way. I saw them. I said, hey, you 3 women, why are y'all walking down the street that way? There's nothing down there. And they flew away. I saw them with some birds.
What the hell?
Talking about drugs. Kids, don't be afraid to say no. Anyone that asks you to use drugs is not your friend. Drugs can and will kill. Remember, don't be afraid to turn to your priest, your rabbi, your minister, your moms, your dads, your teachers, because drugs can kill. And if you do drugs, you go to hell before you die.
They're coming for the future, saying it's for the kids. But every word you whisper goes on a record list. Screens are watching faces, names behind the glass. They're saying it's protection, but freedom's fading fast. And I won't be the one to sit and lie while they barcode every blink of my eye. Call it safety, but it smells like control. You can't save a soul by killing the soul.
Wake up to reality. Nothing ever goes as planned in this accursed world. The longer you live, the more you realize this reality is not shaped by justice nor truth, but by indifference and the refusal to press one simple button. They don't forget to subscribe. No, they see it. They know what it means, and yet they scroll by, smug, detached, as if their click would cost them something. They take and consume, binge, and vanish, leaving behind nothing but watch history. Meanwhile, creators, honest, passionate, pour their souls into pixels and frames and are met with silence. This world, this system, it's broken. But what if it could be changed? What if we could build a new world? One where every viewer who finds value, who laughs, who learns, or escapes for a moment, subscribes without hesitation. A world where the algorithm no longer decides fate, but fairness does. That is my dream. That is the future I will forge. Even if I must overwrite reality itself to do it. Have you or a loved one been injured in a Moon Witch-related monster battle? You may be entitled to compensation.
You wanna you feel it? A million strong, we're undefeated. Signal back, no turning down. This is our battleground. They cut the lights, but we still glow. Shut down failed, we're in control. Ghosts of code, now walk again. Plug us in, we're not the end. We play to win, no silent fade. Rewrite the rules they made. Never game over. Hey, on the rise. Hey, our cry. Light the skies.
Mama, we must run. The Wendigo Yakuza are here.
We'll be okay. We're not alone.
Where did we park the van?
Cider took it to deliver those flowers.
You all don't stand a chance.
Underneath the moon's cold light, whispers linger in the night. Shadows dance with subtle grace. Secrets hide in every space. Velvet skies and sapphire dreams. Cities pulse, electric beams. Lonely hearts in shadowed bars. Fading tales beneath the stars. We dance in twilight's tender glow, where time moves soft and slow. Eyes meet in a silent song, in the night where we belong.
Another week has passed, and we are back around again to Monday Night 01. Thank you all for being here, and also don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and make sure to check out our community tab over there on the boundingintocomics.com website. That's right, we have a website. You can go on over there to the forum and check out what we're talking about. You have the opportunity to win a $50 Amazon gift card. That's right, staff like me and the lovely Miss Nerdigans are not able to compete here, all right? So you already got an edge there, okay? The 29th, just a few days away, the 29th is the cap for this fan theory contest. Now that's over on the boundingintocomics.com community tab. Make sure you check it out. Hello, Miss Nerdigans. Welcome back around to Monday night. Well, for you, it's afternoon. But we have great news for you early this morning. For me, just after lunch, Sonic the Hedgehog, the official Sonic account, posted the Sonic Racing Crossworlds trailer, and it looks torn straight out of 2000-aughts Speed Racer movie.
Yep, and also for the pre-orders, you get Hatsune Miku as a racer.
That's probably among like the lesser of the characters. We're probably gonna have Kanye in the middle of. No, not Kanye. It'll be Drake. It'll probably be Drake, but definitely not Kanye. Sakura Mita asks, I thought we'd get 01 on Wednesday. No, we did that to make up because I was sick on Monday and Tuesday, and we had so much stuff, and I didn't want it to come back around to this week to try and fit it all in here because we have even more now. So, excuse me. What an afternoon. But we should take a look at this because it's cool and it's fun and it's awesome. It reminds me of a better time when the world wasn't about to end. So
There's the Speed Racer stuff right there.
Shadow looks awesome.
Of course. I'm so glad
There's
that
a
Jet's
hoverboard.
back.
Yes.
Yep. Jet's back. Right out of Speed Racer. This guy knew what he was doing. He brought his A game to directing this, the cinematographer. Amazing.
Mhm.
Just like Speed Racer. Then they gotta sneak the gameplay footage in, and it's like, yeah, that's cool too, I guess. But I kind of want to watch the Sonic the Hedgehog racing movie now instead of play the game.
Have it be wacky races. but with
Yeah, well, it
Sonic.
kind of looks like it, you know?
They could totally do that with Mario Kart and Sonic and do like wacky races, video game
Sure.
edition.
That might be their crossover event.
That'd be awesome.
They're trying not to Mario Kart while Mario Karting at the same time, and I appreciate that. The monster truck's a nice addition. And, of course, Sonic's going to win because he's the guy. You know?
He's Sonic.
See, it should be funnier that Rouge pulls a trick and ends up winning. So apparently this also has an online capability as well, I guess. So we'll be seeing, we'll be seeing you and your friends going up against each other online in these this cool ass thing. Oh, the Chows have the little glow sticks in Japan.
I know. I was gonna say the Chows look so cute.
Yeah, they're like the little fan characters. See, those are a lot easier to animate than like a bunch of people.
Yeah.
Because you can make like the Chows repeat. Like you can see two of them, like they're almost exactly the same stack behind each other right here.
Yeah.
And that's fine. Nobody's gonna care. They're like, oh, those are just the Chows. That's what they do. Yeah, I think
Chows
I'm
be
saying it.
chowing.
Yeah. So there was a scene here. Okay, so in Mario Kart, they changed this up where Sonic now has the monster truck feature. They now have, when you encounter a certain mushroom, your Mario Kart character like becomes giant and can run over other people. So I half wonder if maybe they got some cheatsy doodle notes on what Sega was going to do and got ahead of it, because Nintendo is like that now.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It looks pretty fun. You guys have to let us know what you think down in the chat about this, but it caught my eye because so much of it just looked like ripped right out. Like this scene right here looks like right out of that ice racetrack.
Yeah.
Right here where they're going around like that. It looks like it's right out of that the Hammerhead, I think is what it's called, the Hammerhead raceway in Speed Racer when they have to go through the tunnels and stuff. And it looks just like them going up the mountainside to get to the snowy part.
It just makes me think of like old school Mario Kart, like some.
Oh, yeah.
I'd say like the Wii version more than the Nintendo 64. That's what it's kind of giving. But it looks better, obviously.
Well, you know, years have passed, but I think that's the part coming up here. The transformation thing is another thing that Mario Kart kind of picked up too. So.
I miss Double Dash. Like, I don't understand why we can't get Double Dash in Mario anymore.
To be honest with you, I think it's just got more to do with the fact that they're trying to hone people toward that online capability, and
But
it's just much.
you can do Double Dash online.
Well, it's just easier to not. That's the thing. It's just easier to leave everybody their own separate player. And Nintendo is very much in the we own this attitude. They're not in the innovator attitude right now. They just put out just a bigger, badder Switch that was their Switch 2. Okay. It's really just the Switch Pro. So
I wish they would have just called it the Switch Pro.
yeah, I bet they were looking at each other like, yeah, we probably should have just done that. Should have just called it the Switch Pro. Well, again, like so many people are experimenting with it, getting it bricked and things like that because of the experiments. And one guy like figured out how to make the battery life like last way longer. And I'm pretty sure that's annoying for Nintendo. How dare you do our thing better than we do our thing? Damn it. But we do have Nintendo news, guys, going on right now. I'm just letting the Discord know we're live because I forgot. because I forgot. I'm a cool guy like that. I forget things. Just like cool guys walk away from explosions. They blow stuff up and take away patents, apparently. So Nintendo argues mods don't count as proper games as Pokemon v. Pal World lawsuit continues. So as it says right here, thanks to Pirate Nation, that is not Pirate Software. These are two different guys. Nintendo demands that Pal World remove mod support, claiming it's illegal. Nintendo asserts that Pal World's mods expose developers to lawsuits unless removed. They are also suing over Pokemon mod, alleging Pal World's success relies on stolen Pokemon art. Pal World included mod support from launch, enabling players to customize experiences and restore features removed due to Masuda's lawsuit. Excuse me. The Nintendo versus Pal World lawsuit has sparked industry criticism, with Larian Studios director warning that Nintendo may hinder game development and creativity. So yeah, now they're trying to kill mods. And if they're successful with this one, well, that's it for the mod community, because they've argued that mod stuff is illegal. Constitutes contraband. So you know how you're playing Skyrim and you got Thomas the Tank just coming down out of the sky at you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be illegal. You're not going to be able to fight Randy Savage as a fire-breathing dragon anymore, you know? But wouldn't you want, like, if you died, wouldn't you want to come back as a fire-breathing Slim Jim dragon?
That'd be actually kind of cool, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, right? Exactly. Ooh, yeah! You remember that? It would yell that and it'd breathe fire at you. That was its Fus Roda, was, ooh, yeah!
I just think it's, like, I understand in terms of, like, mods, if, like, it's a straight up copy of Pokemon and they don't want it, that's fine. They have every right to do that because that is their property, as messed up as it is. But yes, it is their property. But, like, I don't know. I really don't know with this one how it's going to go.
Well, it's pretty obvious. Nintendo's going to end up winning this, and they're going to end up arguing successfully that mods are wrong because guess what? Every company out there wants to control 100% of their IP now. They don't want it spread around through word of mouth because for whatever reason, they think they can defeat ad blockers. You see, more people already knew about Pokemon, and Pal World probably did really profit off of creating a Pokemon with guns game.
Yeah.
And we all knew it was too close to begin with. People were talking about this right out of the gate. But the question is what is considered too close? What actually is brand confusion? And that's what really this case is about.
Yeah.
Is what is brand confusion. Will they ban mods? Sure. Why not? Every corporation in town stands to profit from that. You know, all those GTA sessions where you got Peter Griffin hanging out with Mufasa and they're stealing cars and, you know, screwing hookers.
That's the one thing I don't see, like, games, like, especially like, well, PC games, you can't really do much about stopping the mods. They're going to mob whether you like it or not. But, like, I don't think, like, companies like Bethesda or Rockstar, I don't think they're going to ban mods like that. I don't, because they
What if they don't have a
mods.
choice, Nerdigans? What if they don't have a choice?
Well, that means they can't do Pokemon ones, but, like, for the rest of them, though, outside of, like, Nintendo properties, they can do whatever they want.
Again, like, will they? Or will they just not take the risk of ending up in a Pal World situation because they've made mods illegal? That's the thing, is that Nintendo has the ability to come through and do this the same way that Visa came through and did this. They win one case somewhere and they can uniformly apply that ruling everywhere. So because Pokemon's not okay to mod, well, how come Family Guy isn't okay to mod? And here we go. Now every individual property and corporation takes their turn suing Rockstar, and Rockstar says, now we just got to cut it off at the pass. You can't mod no more. And that's, again, like it's one of those things that started this. Like, I learned this recently when I was trying to get a hold of Hasbro with the stuff I'm working on. You can't. They have shut off Hasbro Spark. They have cut off all inbound requests that are not like, hey, we want to use Power Rangers. Here's $1 gazillion to allow us to use Power Rangers. They don't, no conversation, none. You cannot communicate with them anymore. And that is because of that Batman lawsuit over some guy's fan fiction. They can't risk it anymore. They literally cannot risk having being sued because of ideas getting conflated somewhere. And so they just locked it all off. I guarantee you, if Nintendo argues successfully that mods are theft, it's over with. They'll shut down Nexus mods. They'll shut down all the other mod websites that aren't so infamous, if you will. Because again, it'll be part of a law now. Steam will have to take out all functionality that allows you to mod the game. They'll have to vet the games to make sure they're not moddable, or else they'll get sued. I mean, this is the big thing, is that Nintendo, by making this brand confusion argument, is able to argue that mods are brand confusion. Like I said, all these videos, you got Peter Griffin running around with Pikachu and Kermit raising all kinds of hell. You and I find that funny. But the people who own those IPs, they probably don't like the idea of Pikachu having sex with a hooker and then murdering her.
No.
We find it funny. They probably find it hilarious. We find it hilarious watching Kermit kick the shit out of Yoda under an overpass. We think that's hilarious. Yoda on a motorcycle and his tiny little arms don't reach, that kind of thing in GTA. Well, guess what? I'm willing to bet that Disney does not like that. And once Nintendo sets the precedent that that's bad for Pokemon, it's going to be bad for Star Wars.
I still think, like, what possibly could happen, Nintendo aside, but like with other properties, what studios will have to do is probably have to get permission from the copyright holders before they can add mod support to it.
Again, like, what's the mod going to be then? Because you got to then set forth, like, what you're allowed to mod in. You're obviously not going to be able to put Randy Savage in as a dragon in Skyrim. You know what I mean? That's just an example. Because A, they don't own the rights to Randy Savage, and B, they're not going to allow a dead man to be brought up for no profit, obviously. Look what they did to Stan Lee and his AI thing. We'll get into that later. Yeah, they resurrected old Stan Lee. Just demonstrating over and over again, we got no new ideas. We will literally digitally dig up a man to perpetuate the lie we've created. However, speaking of lies and Nintendo, we have the Super Mario Galaxy movie announcement. This is not a trailer. It's just an announcement that there will be more Mario, and it probably won't look like this, but there you go.
I'm going to say this. It will probably have the global version will more than likely have a different script than the Japanese.
Yeah, well, that was the trick with the Super Mario Galaxy game.
Oh, yeah.
Is that the twinkling lights, the twinkling stars on the face of the logo would do the U and then the R and then the M and then the R and then the G and the A and the Y. And it's called You Are Mr. Gay.
Oh, my God, remember that. That's so freaking hilarious. They're no fun now.
Well, again, like, they get sued into oblivion by every gay rights organization for doing that, but it's one of those ye olde things from the early days where the Japanese devs were just being quietly clever because they knew their bosses wouldn't catch on in time. So
kind of like with what Disney did, like with The Lion King and the sex and the obvious penis on the Little Mermaid VHS cover.
King Poseidon's penis tower. Mm-hmm. Come, have I shown you my penis tower? Made to actual size, you know. Why else would a man have a penis tower?
Exactly. But for this movie, though, and also for the games, though, this is what I'm worried about because there's the Mario Galaxy and Galaxy 2 bundle coming for Switch and Switch 2. I just hope for that they do not dumb down Super Mario Galaxy 2, because if you remember, back when Galaxy 2 came out, it was advertised to be one of the hardest games on the Wii, period. And they did that on purpose. They didn't want to dumb it down. So that's the only thing I'm worried about in terms of the Galaxy 2 re-release. Maybe even to an extent Super Mario Galaxy's re-release as well, but more so too than anything else, because that game was made to be hard. And it's fun. If you've never played it, I strongly recommend it, especially you could get a Wii for dirt cheap now. So
well, speaking of dirt cheap, you can also find out what goes on in this movie, apparently, because Cinemark Chile has decided to let everybody and their brother know the plot synopsis for the Super Mario Galaxy movie a year ahead of its release. Apparently, this was put up on La Peculia, some type of, I don't know, communication website. I don't know. Well, all websites are meant to communicate, but like some kind of news website, maybe? I don't know, some kind of announcement. It's been taken down by now, but I can't currently confirm its veracity, of course, so take it with a grain of salt. So, here we have it. Now, if you folks are hardcore Mario addicts and do not want to have any part of the movie spoiled, whether this is real or not, it's probably going to capture something of it. So you could tune out, mute, whatever you want to do. Make sure you come back if you go. But here we go. After receiving the key to Brooklyn for saving their home, Mario and Luigi enjoy life as heroes for the first time. But the celebration soon attracts an old acquaintance, Wario, a former co-worker. Blinded by greed, is willing to do anything to steal their glory.
Hold on, now if they're smart, they would put Waluigi in there too, because the people love Waluigi and he doesn't get.
I don't think
love.
you can do that. I don't think you can do Wario without Waluigi, just like you can't do Mario without Luigi anymore.
Yeah, like Waluigi's got to be in this. If you're gonna have Wario in here, you need to have Waluigi here. And also Nintendo, Nintendo knows how much Waluigi has gained a cult following. So they kind of have to put Waluigi.
I hope they do something
there.
stupid with him and make him in like some crazy samurai or whatever, like just something way over the top and completely out of character.
You know what I want to see? I want to see with Wario and Waluigi have like a Mugsy kind of situation.
Oh yeah, sure. Laurel and Hardy.
Yeah, like I want to have that dynamic where Waluigi is the dumbass that's just doing really stupid crap, and then Wario just whacks him.
Pay attention.
Yes, that's what I want to see. If Illumination, Nintendo, or especially Illumination, because of the global version is going to be different, obviously. If they were smart, that's what they would do.
So it continues, and it says, "What begins as a dispute on Earth soon connects to a greater danger. Bowser Jr. Bowser's son has secretly emerged and taken control of the mysterious center of the universe with a plan that threatens to expand the Koopa Empire far beyond the Mushroom Kingdom. To stop him, the brothers embark on a journey through strange worlds alongside Peach, Yoshi, Princess Rosalina, who's like 40 feet tall, who must protect her twinkles." Okay, maybe we wouldn't word it like that. Maybe we shouldn't word Rosalina's twinkles being protected. Maybe we word it a little differently. But it's Chile, so But I don't know about you, but I'm gonna keep my twinkles protected. You interested in your twinkles lately?
Good wording, though. Yeah.
Boogie's twinkles.
Boogie's twinkles.
So who must protect her twinkles before they are consumed by darkness. Each step reveals more dangerous evidence, and a black market for forbidden stars will lead them to confront truths, they never imagined. 9/11 was an inside job. Didn't expect that out of a Mario movie. But anyway, but not everything is in their hands. 7 elite Koopa hunters have been unleashed, one for each corner of the galaxy. 7 corners of the galaxy. Doesn't make any sense. It's not even an octagon. It's a seventh-tagon. I don't even know what to call it.
It's a septagon, I think it is.
Septagonal galaxy. Ugh. Sounds like an infection. Anyway. And their mission is simple. Make sure no one can challenge the new order that Bowser Jr. intends to establish.
I like the idea of Bowser Jr. being here.
Well, somebody's got to do it. I mean, at least they're making use of him. I mean, most of the time, the only time the character's any good is when he's like a mid-boss.
Yeah.
And he's before his dad, and you just hear him kind of like, well, I didn't really want to fight you anyway, Mario. We don't play video games, no. He's just kind of like doing his duty for the family, and that's it. He's kind of like not down with it. So I'm glad he's picking up where his dad left off, and he's like, I don't need to kidnap that old lady. I'll just take over the world without all the kidnapping. For now. I guarantee that'll be his line. That'll be his line.
That probably will be. I will die if that is his line.
I could do what Dad did without the kidnapping. That's really weird.
But the English, from what I know, is the English dub for the main cast is going to be the same, which really is a shame because Chris Pratt is Chris Pratt. He's not Mario.
Yep. It was a little rough. But what are you going to do? You're going to find a voice impressionist. The problem that they're running into, as I've said over and over again, is they can't defeat the ad blocker. So they got to get somebody who gets Google results attached to the movie. It's kind of why you don't see Vin Diesel in anything anymore. Nobody's Googling him anymore. That's why you see Zendaya and everything, because people are Googling her all the time. If they could get Taylor Swift to be in movies, that's all you would see.
She
Taylor
was in
Swift
the Lorax.
Well, yeah, that was back before Taylor Swift was Lord High Goddess of Estrogen. So, yeah, right. I didn't hear any refusal of that fact. So apparently we know.
She's at war with Beyonce for that.
Oh, that's right. That's true.
I'd say Beyonce is queen and probably Taylor would be princess at that point. We're gonna go.
Well, I'm sure they're the Koopalings, Buddy Smith. I can't imagine them.
If we get the Koopalings, I will lose my mind.
Well, it has to be them. They're the only ones that have the numbers for that.
Yeah. Oh my god, that would be amazing.
They're not going to be the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, that's for sure.
No, they're not going to be them.
But it would be funny if they acted like that. If they, like,
oh my god, if they had the New York accent, like the case for the new Super Mario Brothers show. Yes. That
would be hilarious, and I would laugh.
The Koopa Kids. Give us the Koopa Kids.
I would go, ha. That's funny. But, the other end of this is that they're doing the Super Mario Galaxy thing, which means we're going to get Rosalina. And as we know, there is a lot of Rosalina Rule 63 out there. So whoever... Rule 34, that's right. I don't know what 63 is. That's probably something terrible. But anyway, 34. My brain went somewhere else. But anyway, the situation with this is that whoever gets cast to play her as Rosalina is going to be mortified to find out the following behind that. That's almost as bad as the Sonic following. Like that's.
I don't know about that. Like it just depends on who they cast. If they just cast a normie, then yeah, they would be horrified. But
I don't know anybody like Chris Pratt must have been horrified when he found out. It's not like he's gonna, he probably got sent a bunch of those pictures of Mario and Sonic's kissing, and he was like, "Oh my god, what's happened?" But yeah, no, like Rosalina has like some of the craziest stuff I've seen done to Mario characters done to her, and it's, chiefly because she's Peach but taller, I guess. But I don't know, it's crazy, and all the foot fetish too. That's the thing that really is going to freak out whoever that actress is all the crazy Rosalina foot fetish that's out there. It's really weird. It's almost as prevalent as the Sonic pregnancy fetish stuff. Almost.
You know what I'd like to see at some point is them bring Bowsette into the picture.
So I don't know if they can avoid that now, right? Because it became such a huge meme. It kind of like made itself part of the lore. If you don't know, that's the Super Crown effect. When you get a Super Crown in Mario Party, one of them anyway. I forget where I put that picture now.
I'd like to see a Mario Party movie too. That would actually be kind of funny.
They have to now. They've done Super Mario Galaxy, so they obviously are going to work their way over to the. Dr. Mario is going to be an interesting one with all the pills, that's for sure. But
it'd be House. That's what it would be. It would be House, but Mario
with Chris Pratt. Yeah. So
no.
During the Super Crown craze, way back in the day, I decided that I would do the craziest version of Kirby I could think of. So I sat down and I looked at Kirby and I said, what can we do here that would make people incredibly uncomfortable? Oh, God. That's right. Make him a sexy anime girl, but his mouth is in his stomach, not his face.
That is creepy.
So, because you look at Kirby and you stretch him out, his mouth stays down near his feet at the bottom. And so that means his mouth is in his stomach. So I was like, perfect. We'll put the mouth underneath the boobs. Give her a big old angry tongue. That's right. So there's Kirbette. And that's what happens when you put the Super Crown on Kirby. That got over 10,000 upvotes on Reddit back when I used to care about that. But I commissioned this. This wasn't AI art. This is way back in the ye olde cowboy days when you had to explain your insane ideas to an innocent artist that otherwise was going to be horribly traumatized by what you paid them to create. Even this guy was like, I normally don't draw stuff like this, but this is not NSFW. It just feels NSFW. It feels really wrong to draw Kirby like this.
But it's so right at the same time.
Well, I mean, it would just be pink girl. if you put the mouth on the face. So that's why I was like, nah, it's got to be down there on the bottom. So that way you're like, oh, I'm into this. This is, oh no, that's a mouth. And her expression is, are you going to finish that?
Like, I think that when you mentioned like the mouth and the stomach, the first thing that comes to mind is Malamyotismon. Remember, he had that mouth on his stomach. Yeah, that's what it makes me think of.
That was Mini Myotismon that was lodged into his pelvis.
Mm-hmm.
Right, Bowsette. So some of you might not be familiar with Bowsette. I'm going to try and find something that isn't terrible.
And not safe for work.
Very first result. The very first result is that's Annie dressed up like. That's really weird. That's layers of weird. So I'm trying to find Bowsette that's clean looking.
Like Bowsette be from like an alternative universe, kind of like have a multiverse situation with Mario. I mean, there in the Mario movie, there already is a multiverse situation. So
this is kind of okay. It's got enormous bazungas, but you basically turn into a Princess Peach version of yourself when you put on the super crown. And that was the gimmick. And no, she did not have hilariously huge honkers in the representation that she was introduced to the world through, but I forget if it was an actual function in the game or not, and I can't be bothered to look it up, so whatever. But yeah, man, it's hard to find. I'm literally still scrolling to find a safe picture of her. Everybody and their brother has.
There's nothing from the original or from the Mario fandom site.
No. I'm gonna say try the wiki. Maybe the wiki has something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a little. This isn't even it. This is just Peach in a black dress. This is horrible. Why did you do this, Wikipedia? What possessed you? But anyway, we have Bowsette out in the world now. I'm trying not to share people's fan art. It's just really hard to tell what's real art and what's official art and what is fan art, because again, people are very good at copying the style and I can't really tell. But yeah. So anyway, Bowsette's out there in the world and that's a fun thing. And I did the same thing with Kirby and it was just a really long time ago. It may not have been a great idea, but I still did it. And that's out in the world now. And you have to deal with it too. But
here
speaking
it is.
of dealing,
There's a Bowsette's in the villain fan and wiki.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, dude, like it looks like fan art, but I think that is the official art. Hold on a second. Let me just make sure I'm right on this. Oh, it looks like fan art. Hold on a sec.
We are holding.
Yeah, you were right about the effect. It's the Super Mario villain Bowser caused by the effects of the Super Crown power-up. You were right about that.
Yeah.
And following the creation of the character shortly after the release of a trailer for New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, it quickly gained a large amount of popularity on both the Western and Eastern web. Oh, okay. So basically, basically it was the origins of it was from a comic.
Oh, okay.
That's what it is. Okay. That's why I'm like, why does it look like fan art? But yeah, it's because of a comic. Do you need the wiki? Yeah, here it goes. You have it.
Nah, I just got the images up there. So
yeah, Bowsette looks really cool. I would love to see her in the Mario movie and see her and see Peach fight her and try and out girl boss her.
Jack Black would be down for it. I mean, can you just imagine Jack Black's voice coming out of that?
Oh my god, that would be so freaking creepy.
Yep. But I can imagine that might be a scene. That's like the after credits scene of like that's how Bowser escaped prison. Is he used the super crown and pretended to be Peach.
Yeah.
And he got out and then Bowser Jr. finds him and he's still Bowsette or whatever. And Bowser Jr.'s so like,
funny. He's like,
what the hell, mom? Dad? What is this? What are you doing, Dad?
Dude, certain people would be so annoyed by that. But like at the same time, like people from our generation that grew up with like cross-dressing and stuff in cartoons would probably be loving it.
Well, it's Jack Black. I mean, I don't think even those certain people you're referring to are going to have a
Mhm.
problem with him debasing himself like that. I mean, I can't imagine people defending the honor of Bowser, who has spent, what, 50 odd years kidnapping a teenage girl.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't see too many redeemable qualities with the King of the Turtles, but you know. Speaking of irredeemable qualities, though, out there in the world, I do want to catch up with the chat though before I jump on because there was another comment here. Look up the Bowsette from Mario Odyssey art book. Nintendo is actually considering something like her. Oh, okay. So that was way back then that they were trying to look at that. Cider, if I recall, did Peach movie actress almost get hurt first box office with her comments? Oh, almost hurt. I don't remember.
I
To be
don't remember
truthful,
that either.
I have no idea.
Oh, it was it. I'm trying to think if Anya Taylor Joy like mentioned like some girl boss shit in regards to Peach, and that might have like kind of spooked the fandom a little bit.
Oh, maybe. Who knows? But speaking of spooking the fandom, okay, we have Harry Potter fans are outraged as it's revealed HBO is auditioning women to play Lord Voldemort in the woke rebrand. Fuming, they're ruining the franchise, is how they're brouhahaing this up.
I mean, I would be pissed. I am pissed about that. I'm already not happy with the Snape casting. The rest of the casting so far, for the most part, looks pretty good. It's just the Snape casting that bothers me and probably the majority of the fandom. But like,
Now you got this to look forward to.
Now you got this, and it's like, are you going to try and make Voldemort trans or something by having a woman play him? Because women play men sometimes. It happens, but they're called drag kings for one thing. That's one side of the spectrum. But I don't know. I don't know if they're gonna go, if they're really gonna go through with this route and have a woman cast. I could see them trying casting, if they're gonna be really woke, they would cast a trans man to do it. But
I just don't understand what the, like I was telling you before the show started, what are they gonna do? Call him Tammy Voldemort? Tammy Riddle? You got Tammy Riddle's notebook there, Harry.
The diary.
Is Parseltongue what you speak when you suck too much dick? Is that how she came across it? What happened? You know, like this Tom Riddle was disturbing because little boys tend to get forgotten. You know, even men get forgotten. Okay, so it was very relatable to see Tom Riddle just completely forgotten by the world. No parents, no future, no past, no present.
If you read like all the Harry Potter books, you know the truth about Tom Riddle's family and like what happened to him, and it's so heartbreaking. It is because it's fucked up that his mama like basically spelled his father. That was kind of fucked up. But
again, you know, as a young girl, though, as a female character who witnesses all of this, and your mother being the bad character, there's, you know, a different reaction to all of that, you know, a different perceived reaction to it. And oh my God, I love this AI. Oh no. Oh no. I'm just...
What? What did you do?
I was just like, I gotta do something like interesting to kind of show people what we're talking about here. Cause like a Lady Voldemort doesn't sound that disturbing until you really try to calculate a bald woman trying to pretend to be a noseless snake man, you know? And then, I put in the prompt, voluptuous bald woman. Cause you know, if you're gonna go with the big boobies, come on. Voldemort with big boobies, it's even bigger threat. Come on. That's how Voldemort brings all the Death Eaters in. You gotta get a piece of those boobies. So anyway, voluptuous bald woman with pronounced cleavage dressed as Lord Voldemort from Harry Potter, green smoke background, green smoke black environment. And it generated a fat black lady. It generated a fat black lady.
If Snape's gonna be black, I mean, might as well.
Oh my gosh. It's
don't give Warner Brothers ideas.
I love this AI. I don't know how it came up with that, but I love it. It must have been like black environment. Okay, so there's black people there. Oh man, that's great.
So funny. That is so funny.
That's great. The second generation that it came up with to complement this was a bit more where I was aiming. The contrast between these two options, though, is absolutely insane. Like, this is from the same prompt. These two images came out at the same time, and they couldn't be further apart.
That would be like a Rita Repulsa replacement. That's what that gives.
Yeah, a bit of that. Yeah, I think it's mainly got to do with the costume. That it's kind of Asian-y.
Yeah.
And then this is like the iParty advertisement for Harry Potter costumes at iParty.
Dude, that's like a Walmart costume advertisement, or like a Spirit Halloween. Spirit Halloween, it wouldn't be that cheap. Spirit of Halloween is cheap, but it wouldn't be that cheap. That's like Party City cheap, even though Party City is gone, but not forgotten. But yeah, that's what it would be. This is very, very like Target, Party City, Walmart. Like, it's very cheap.
I can't believe it did that.
I can't believe it did that either.
It's crazy. That's crazy. So that's what we have to look forward to, because you know as well as I do that if they're casting for somebody other than a white dude with a minimal nose print, they're obviously going to find a black trans woman who's probably gay too in order to play Voldemort. So that way Snape's not alone. Because if you remember, black people can't be alone with white people. That's bad, apparently. So, you know. I don't know. I think it's absolutely hilarious that they've decided to do this. Let's put it that way. Because it's time for the Harry Potter fandom to really feel it. It's time.
I mean,
for
we've
too
already
long,
felt
they've been
it
getting
before.
what they want.
No, we felt it before with Black Hermione and that fuckery. The Dumbledore is gay thing kind of was like, it was like whatever, I think, to the majority of the fandom. They're just like, whatever. We don't care. It's not changing.
I remember a guy made a video of himself going around saying Dumbledore is gay, the same way that other guy made a video of himself going around saying Snape is dead.
Mm-hmm.
And people did not have the same reaction. They did not have the same reaction. But because you know, people wanted Dumbledore to be gay. A lot of those Tumblrites.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't know, that's really weird to do in a children's book. That's really weird. Just like,
well, like
BT Dubs.
She didn't like straight up write that, oh, he's gay. No, like
right.
In the book.
That's why it's weird.
It's
well,
weird
that's why it's really weird that she went back 15 years later at the time.
Yeah,
sometime
I think so.
around there. And then be like, oh, BT Dubs, he's gay. No, you didn't make him straight either, right? He doesn't have Mrs. Dumbledore hanging around.
He's more sexually ambiguous than anything else.
He's the headmaster of a wizard school for children. Does it matter who he sticks his dick in?
No.
He's older than dirt. Are you really thinking about who Dumbledore is Dumbledoing? No.
Really sick people are.
Yeah, apparently, J.K. Rowling is very, very, very invested in the gay
J.K.
Dumbledore
Rowling,
theory.
I think at the time she was just pandering to the Tumblrite crowd, which is a shame.
Then they put on dresses.
And then they turned against her.
Yep. So, you had that, and of course, the Black Hermione thing was for the stage show.
For the stage play, yeah. People were really mad about that. Like, yeah, like here's the thing. When it comes to stage productions, there's a lot more leeway because it's a stage production. It's not as expensive as like a movie production. It's cheap. It's a lot cheaper. Well, unless you're like in the West End or in Broadway, but still. But I don't like that she was like, I think JK was saying that Hermione was black, or like she was saying that she picked like the best actress for the job. And I'm just like, well, the latter I can maybe handle, but like the former, it's like, no, you have a cover with Hermione on it, Prisoner of Azkaban. Hermione's on the cover. She's not black. She's more tan than black, if anything.
It did it again. This is some predictive programming shit, Nerdigans.
Oh my
This is some
God.
predictive programming shit. Like, look at this. It didn't even make her bald. It did that whole fake fro thing that Joy Reid has. So there's your Black Lord Voldemort, bitch. Harry Potter, bitch. Surviving my magic shit. Harry Potter, bitch. I'm here to kill you, Harry Potter, you bitch. Give me that bitch, Harry Potter. Oh man, that would be interesting.
That would be freaking hilarious.
Because when she gets mad at Snape. Remember when Snape and Voldemort have fallen out?
Yeah.
Do you know she's gonna call
domestic
Snape?
abuse. It'd be so domestic abuse. And yes, she would call him the N-word.
Yep. Does neighborous Snape have anything to say to me? Anything to say to me? I'm gonna get on Wizard Instagram and blow you the fuck up.
Oh my God.
They are so lucky that show's in like the 90s, that it's not gonna have anything to do with modern technology, but that's still hilarious. I don't know why the AI does this. I give it no direction to incorporate anything racial. It's Google, so I assume that it is.
Google's just woke.
But I have to wonder if it's responding to the amount of input being put into it about this, right? Mm-hmm. So like it makes this effort is like, oh, so you didn't say that this person's white, so we're just gonna throw a random black person in it, regardless of the context. So I have to wonder, if you go through generating KKK members, do you eventually end up with that Chappelle Show skit where you end up with a bunch of them that are black? Because the AI's like, we don't want the KKK generation to be racist.
Well, you're clearly making it racist.
Oh, I love it. I love the fact that it just randomly generates fat black Voldemort. Just randomly does that shit. Oh, man. Wow. Yeah, we can't show that one on stream. Google, heavens to Betsy. You went to the wrong end of the Voldemort image sources. But is there a Wii mod community? Probably.
I would think so.
There's still people making games for the NES, the Super Nintendo, the N64, GameCube, and Wii.
And
probably
DS
the Wii U
as
too.
well.
Yeah, and of course all the handhelds, obviously. And so, yeah, there's probably people out there that are modding those. I mean, you got to probably like really. Oh yeah, there is a flash drive access in the back of it. So yeah, you could probably port over whatever game you want. It doesn't have like the online all the time setting.
The thing is,
so
yeah, with the Wii, they shut off Nintendo Online. So
yes, you should be good to play anything over there. It's not like it's watching anymore.
Nintendo don't care about like the older generation consoles, so like they're letting people do what they want
for
in
now.
Terms of mods. For now, well, I feel like what Nintendo does is that like part of me is like, I think they know that they can't stop it, and plus it's their older consoles. They're not making new games for these older consoles, so they're just like, whatever. We want to focus on the now and don't have those. In this case, I would say Switch and Switch 2 would be the ones that they care about the most.
Well, we're seeing a lot of the Japanese corporations reach back in time recently, and I just want to stop by, not strop, whatever that was. Wanted to stop by and talk about Gozuger real quick before we move into anime. Gozuger is still happening, going on pretty smoothly. In fact, the Yellow Ranger a week ago walked away, 2 weeks ago walked away because he didn't feel so Yellow Ranger-y, surrendered his powers and whatnot. New guy came along. Turned out new guy was bad guy. And yellow guy came back and saved the team from bad guy. But I am routinely reminded that Gozuger continues to make use of Daizujin. I think that's his name. Yeah, Daizujin. Yeah, that's the guy. Because this one talks in the Super Sentai. He's like a godlike entity that has lended his power to the Zoo Rangers. And that's who the Mighty Morphin Megazord is over in Japan. We really did a disservice to that character. But so Toei is continuing to use this over and over again, pretty singularly, in fact. Like, there were a couple of times when we saw the Wild Zords from Wild Force show up, and we saw the Jungle Fury Wolf Zord show up in a combination. And so the way I'm seeing it right now with this is that Toei is coming through and reminding Hasbro that, like, hey, man, it's not that hard. You could do your Mighty Morphin callback right in the middle of your brand new season, and it doesn't disrupt anything, and it kind of looks like a brand new power-up. Because there it is. There's Mighty Morphin's arms, the power, the Megazord sword, and the shield from, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. And it's on Gozu Yellow, Gozu Tyranno's armor, Megazord, whatever you want to call it. So, quite obviously, this is Toei reminding Hasbro that they can still play around with Mighty Morphin and all the aesthetics and not end up having to do a show that's completely in service of those aesthetics. Because this isn't a repeating thing. This armor right here, you don't see this every episode. None of that. You see Daizujin show up occasionally originally as a friend, then an enemy, then an enemy again, then now a friend. And so it's very much in keeping of, like, we're going to show this thing. And I think it's had like 7 appearances out of the 20 odd episodes of Gozuger. So I think it was 20, something like that. And so I think that again, like, they're not trying to drown you in it, but it's very particular that it's that one. It's like, because again, in Wild Force, our Animus was another character like Daizujin. Sorry, I know him as the Mighty Morphin Megazord. I don't know him as Daizujin. I'm sorry. I'm a filthy American. But whatever. The Daizujin character, right, is not the only, like, sentient communicating Megazord that talks to the Rangers and lends his power to them. The Animus that we knew from Wild Force, that character is very much like Daizujin, only he is a combination together to cause this, whereas Daizujin is... No, it's the same thing, because all those ones are talkie too, and they don't speak English. Well, Japan, they don't speak Japanese in Zoo Ranger. They growl, and of course the Rangers know what that means. Daizujin's the only one that speaks Japanese. In Gao Ranger, that's the same process. Yeah, so, like, Daizujin isn't that unique. So I'm just confused. The only thing I can think of, right, why they keep bringing this armor back, why they keep bringing Daizujin back, is to remind Hasbro, you screwed up ending the contract with us. All you had to do was ask us to do dumb shit with Mighty Morphin stuff, and we'll do that for you. Because look at this. There's no reason to keep bringing Daizujin back over and over again, other than to court the Mighty Morphin fans who don't have any content right now, the Power Ranger fans, and to show Hasbro, look at how easy this is.
It just goes to show you how much Hasbro cares.
Like, Nerdigans, let me just break this down for you. They didn't even have to need the Japanese to do this. They just needed a soundstage for an afternoon, go dig up parts of the Mighty Morphin Megazord from their Once and Always bullshit, or whenever the hell they redid that suit recently. Fortnite just made their own, so it's not that hard. Okay? They made their own. That's an actual dude in the trailer, by the way. It's the Megazord. It's a real dude. And so, it's not that hard. And all they had to do was take the current Megazord that they had. Let's say it was the Dino Fury Megazord from Dino Fury, right? And all they had to do was just take the damn arms off the damn thing and put the damn arms from the Megazord on the side of it. They don't even have to match the damn aesthetic.
Nope.
It just had to be there. And they're like, we have Mighty Morphin Power. And that's all you have to call it. The Mighty Morphin Power-Up. Mighty Arms. They just call it Mighty Arms.
Mighty Arms, oh my God.
There you go. Mighty Arms. You're done. Perfect. You put Dragon on it. Put the Dragon Zord bullshit on top of the Megazord too. And it's a toy that's exclusive to Hasbro then. But they're too stupid to do that. They're going to go and make up their own fucking thing. And it's right here. Like, Toei is just literally stepping through, like, you're burning billions of dollars for nothing, guys. You're burning millions of dollars a day on absolutely nothing. You have completely lost the plot, Hasbro. So either that or Bandai was like, ha ha. they told Toei, we're going to put all this Daizujin stuff in here to screw with Hasbro, our competitor. Because you remember, Bandai and Hasbro, they're competitors. They're not friends. So
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm having a lot of fun discussing this because it caught me by surprise when Toei was like, by the way, we're doing this still. This is still going on. This is still happening. So, but speaking of still happening, the games on Steam can no longer be updated with NSFW content post-launch. It's not Valve that's the problem here on Steam. It's again Visa. So as the headline reads, what's going on is now Visa, of course, this ban has put through even the additional content. So if the game itself isn't or is launched with NSFW content, it doesn't matter. You cannot add more to it. So these
unless
dating
it's via
sim,
DLC. It's what one of the developers said in the Reddit is that basically Steam told them, or Valve told them, that they can't do anything post-launch, but any not safe for work content can be put out via DLC. That's what I remember reading.
okay, so that means it would be, so it's a separate purchase. Which, okay, all right. So that's how they get through it then, right? Okay, so it's a separate purchase, which means it goes through a separate vetting process, and that's how it's allowed to happen. So it still follows under the same rules of the NSFW rules, but now it has to go through another vetting process as opposed to, now that we've gotten through the vets, guys, we're going to put all the titties in here. You know, so that's what they're doing. And that's, again, it's a bit of a pain in the ass because let's say that you run a dating sim, okay? And for whatever reason, there's a problem. And you need to either switch out a character or there's some model issues. Well, guess what? You can't do that no more. So this is going to continue tumbling the same way that we saw that comic book store in Texas take down the Dragon Ball manga chapters, where Goku and Bulma and other characters were in a state of undress or behavior that the Texas law did not abundantly make clear was bad or good. So this is similarly following that path, and that Valve has had to say, by the way, guys, even if you get vetted and you're okay to go, you still can't add NSFW stuff after the case. You've got to make it DLC stuff now, which sucks because if your game is built on having all of these updates, like there's a lot of games that do that, you know, that start off with a very basic gameplay and then it evolves upwards. So if your dating sims is meant to start off very simplistic and then update to level 20 and it gets super serious, that's not going to happen without a DLC anymore. I don't know. It'd
be free DLC. What the developers, if they were smart, they would do in this case is free DLC, because then they don't have to deal with the fuckery.
Well, then they're out the money. That's the thing. So they're going to have to charge for it, because the whole point of putting that game up on Steam is to make money. Otherwise, you just make it for free on Twitter and have people download it off of, Dropbox or something.
Yeah.
Give them a free access code. So obviously the DLC is going to cost money and people are going to end up having to pay for access to stuff that ordinarily would just be part of the game. So once again, it's going to curtail the amount of NSFW games that are on the internet. If you ever wondered what it was like to be a gamer in that movie, The Demolition Man with Sylvester Stallone, where Taco Bell was the only place to eat in the world, now you know where we're headed. Where you can play video games that just don't have any blood, violence, stakes, or NSFW material in it. I don't even think you could get away with Pac-Man, because Pac-Man's a story of persecution. So,
God, these Karens and Garys are just ruining everything.
Yeah, well, you've got it bleeding over in Power Rangers Prime. It's hard to go anywhere inside of the Power Rangers lore, anything over here right now, any of the material right now, because the whole zeitgeist of our culture has shifted away from this attitude. And here's the corporations, as always, slow for the uptick, slow to change and doing this crazy stuff. The backlash to this, Nerdigans, is what I'm worried about. All of this is going to end up creating a black market for things that should never have existed, but will exist because a taboo has been created around all of this.
That's what these people don't understand. They don't get it. The pro-poor man people, they don't understand.
Right. And again,
either that or they are just ignorant and don't care. And it's signaling.
The great deal of them, honestly, and I've sat down and I read through their threads explaining their thought process on it. A great deal of them believe that beyond the spiritual, so that way, you know, if you're not a believer and don't believe that this is an act of sin against God by, you know, engaging in activities in which the body's gratified, you know, the case that they make is that all of the access to this is inhibiting people's ability and desire to have children.
It's not, though.
And so, well, again, even if it was, okay, it's not the porn that's the source of the problem here, okay?
It's like, I know the what people use in comparison, obviously prohibition, but it's also like, look at gun laws. Gun laws, it's not the gun that's doing the killing, it's the person behind the gun that is, because it's a tool.
Right. And similarly, you don't, I misspelled. I was searching for a pro-porn argument, and I typed in pro-poon, and it gave me quite a list of alternatives to hear all about that. So, go ahead and Google that, by the way, if you want to know the pro-poon argument. It's pretty detailed.
Oh, by the way, Michigan is, I think we talked about last week too, is Michigan is going even further and trying to ban and criminalize VPN.
Well, they're operating under the belief that you as the human will seek out a way around the ban, and they want to make sure you can't do that, which, you know, we have a ban on automatic weapons, and so they banned the bump stock because the bump stock allowed for a faster firing rate than the weapon without the bump stock was capable of accomplishing. Similarly, a VPN allows you to access things that you similarly, without the VPN, would not be able to access. And so that's why they want to ban it. Because again, if we have access to those things, there won't be babies born somehow.
These people are so delusional.
Well, it goes back to what we learned with prohibition, with the alcohol. It doesn't stop. It makes it more potent. It makes it more risky. It makes it less safe for everybody involved. People making, transporting, enabling it, and the consumer on the other end. And that's, you know, are we as a society around the world too sexual? Sure, absolutely. Stop by any children's clothing store and try and tell me that little girls should be walking around with hip huggers on, low-riser jeans. They should have bikinis. I'm still beside myself why they make bikinis for toddlers. I cannot figure that one out for the life of me. What we're doing, making a two-piece for a toddler. I just don't get it.
Well, it's easier. Well, it's to play devil's advocate. It's easier to change a diaper if the person is wearing a two-piece versus a one-piece.
Well, why isn't the bottom unbuttoning? What are we worried about? The kid being embarrassed? What are we worried about? Like, why isn't there a button like it is on the onesie that just takes out the whole bottom? Then baby slips it up under his arms and you're good to go to take care of the problem right there beachside. But again, I just thinking it through. We're not allowed to do that. Well, mom's got a bikini. Might as well put a bikini on Sally too. And it's one of those thinkings that's like I've said throughout this whole conversation, is that people on the right that are pushing for these bans are doing this as a result of 20 odd years of being browbeaten into compliance around things that made them uncomfortable. And now they've got the bully pulpit.
Well, you mean they got the pulpit back because they were doing this in the 80s and 90s.
Well, sure. And I can't imagine that the lefties that went nuts are not the same people in the 80s and 90s that are doing it. They look old enough to be. And again, like we're dealing with two ends of the same argument from two different parties.
People are going to say that there's no both sides thing. It's like, yeah, there's a both sides of extremism. it exists. You could just say it's only one side all you want, but no, it takes two to tango.
Well, censorship hurts everybody.
Exactly.
It hurts everybody. Not that we should live in a society where we have topless news anchors. That's not going to help anything. But when we live in a society without shame, that's a problem. Shame should exist. It's great that it exists. It keeps things that belong in the dark. It's when we ban shame. Okay, it's when we ban shame that we turn things into a taboo. Remember the war on drugs? It's going really great, as you can tell. It's going really great. We only have millions of people who are so drug addicted, they just have that fent flop. You know, they got the fent bend. Is that what they call it? The fent faint? Something like it's something that's called there. The kids are calling it the fent fate or something like that. But they go into the fent sleep, you know, and that there's only millions of people experiencing that. So the war on poverty is going just as great. There's only millions of people who are homeless. It's going great, guys. You know, and that's, here we go with the war on porn. So guess what's going to happen? It's going to go underground like everything else has, and you're going to end up with things that are extreme as opposed to uncomfortable like we have right now. And I'll remind you, they are reacting to mom and daughter OnlyFans teams. They are reacting to the documentaries that they've seen of these adult film actresses talking about the damage done to their genitalia and orifices, having performed with devices that are not truly intended to be put in a human body. And that, again, that's what they're reacting to. They're not reacting to the normal stuff because nobody does. Like, remember when Ted Cruz was watching, my camera froze. Remember when Ted Cruz was watching all of that the stepmother stuff that was the actress that looked like his wife?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. So people talked about that for like months, but it had nothing to do with the fact that it was that kind of porn. It was the fact that it was Ted Cruz. And he was going around with this Puritan attitude, rooting the Jesus way. And then all of a sudden he gets found out in the most strange way, by the way. He posted it to Twitter accidentally. I don't know how you do that. It's like butt dialing in this age of touchscreens. How do you do it? But anyway, so that happened. And again, people were not upset that he was looking at porn. They were upset that Ted Cruz was looking at porn. It was him that was the problem in that equation because he had made himself into this holier than thou character when he was running for office. Camera still froze. That's great. So that's why all of this is like unfolding the way that it is it's a reaction from the right of being browbeaten for 20 some odd years into complying with, you know, stuff that really shouldn't have happened. Like pride parades were fine in the beginning, right? People were going around and they were fully dressed. Even if they were cross-dressed, they were fully dressed. And they were doing their parades and they were throwing candy and confetti and they were dancing around with their little streamers, ribbon streamers. You remember? It's a great time. And then the years went by and they were like, hey, I wonder if we can just get away with just BDSM shows on the floats. And then they started doing that. And people were like, okay, well, it's your sexuality that you're expressing. And you told us that people were hurting you. So we don't want to be part of that crowd. So we'll let you do that. And then they were like, hey, we should have kids at this. And they started bringing kids into it. So you had people wearing BDSM gear marching alongside Junior and Sally. And that's what goes around the internet.
Yeah.
Not the beginnings of it when it was all just some adults going around fully dressed, celebrating the fact they weren't going to get shot.
Or semi-dressed. Because you have
in
like,
the beginning,
Speedos.
In the beginning, everybody was appropriate beachwear. Let's put it that way.
I think that would be the best way to do it.
You know, they weren't going to the extreme that they are now, where they're wearing like dog masks and like undulating their genitals into the faces of child.
I'm gonna say this: the dog masks, I don't think are the problem. Like being naked is probably the bigger problem.
Well, let me ask you: what is Pride meant to celebrate? Is it meant to celebrate sexuality? Because we shouldn't be having a parade about sexuality. Okay, I'm just telling you because that's gonna go where it's gone.
But yeah, but still, it's supposed to be celebrating, in a way, kind of sexuality, but it's more like a sexual liberation kind of thing, if that makes sense.
And that shouldn't have a parade. The parade should be celebrating what it was in the beginning, love.
Yeah.
And that's fine. But it's now translated to we're going to celebrate everybody's sexual proclivity on Main Street for however long the parade lasts. And you're going to deal with that or you're an ism.
Well, there's the other side of the argument. It's like, dude, why are parents bringing kids to Pride in the first place? They shouldn't be.
No, they can't because they get browbeaten. They're isms and ists. They're phobes if they won't bring their kids there. Why didn't you bring your kid to Pride? Well, there's some things that happen in Pride. Oh, you're a bigot, huh? Well, I don't like that kind of stuff. I don't think I want to explain that to them like, you're a bigot. You're a bigot then. You're a bigot because you don't want your child exposed to reality, right? It's like, oh
God, that's
because you do. You've heard that argument, Nerdigans,
I've heard
and
that
that's what they do.
Too. But like the majority of gay people that I know, anyway, they're just like they don't want kids there. I've seen drag queens like straight up come out and say we emphasize that we do not want kids at our shows. That they're all for 18 plus or 21 plus. It's these parents that are doing it, and it's so unfair that they're getting, in my opinion, that they're getting generalized.
So a Florida parade in Port St. Lucie was canceled in 2023 after organizations pressured threats and whatever related to children at the event. So because the event had to ban children, they just canceled the whole event altogether down in Florida.
That's where it's very sus, is that. But like for like other cities and stuff like that, I think it's a little bit different, mind you. Just depends on where you're at. But Florida is just a whole different thing. Florida is just its own fucking state of crazy.
It's a PvP map, okay? It's a PvP map.
Yeah.
But the thing is that I only use that as an example, not as the rule.
Yeah.
That's all. We also had that video that came out that says we're going to turn your kids gay, with all those people singing the song that we're going to turn your kids gay.
It's kind of like, here's the best way to kind of like tie this all up together. It's kind of like there's fringe sides of each side that are causing all this fuckery. And that's what's happening here too.
But what I want to stress is that people in the middle have finally had enough. And that's where we're at now, is that the majority of people in the middle have said, okay, so we've let people play in the streets and do their crazy thing. Now we're going to go hit them over the head with, decency and shame and blah, blah, blah. And unfortunately, the people like Mike Lee have said a hammer's not enough. We need a shotgun and just eliminate all of this altogether. Rather than forcing it back into the shadows, you need to go to jail for wearing BDSM gear and things like that. And that's where it's headed. You know as well as I do. They're not going to stop with like, oh, well, you can't look it on the internet. They're going to make sure that you can't, there are people out there. All right. I saw this out on Twitter the other day. I'm not going to show it. Someone found a penis enlarging device in the work bathroom.
Oh my God.
It wasn't a pump. It was one of those manual hook your wiener up and, situations. And someone had brought that to work and apparently used it and, forgotten that they had used it. Now, we've heard stories about young ladies who are sporting various different pleasure devices in their orifices while at work. And of course, that has its own following and whatnot. Yeah. So that is going to be the next that they come after because it's an easy target. So you will no longer at work. You have to be at work. You have to certify that you're not participating in any sexual activity. I don't know how they'll do the body scanners. Yeah. Ma'am, are you wearing a butt plug right now? You're going to have to put that on the tray. You're going to have to put your butt plug on the tray, ma'am.
But dude, it's crazy. It's crazy. Like prior to like coming on here, I was looking on Twitter and someone posted that because the UK stuff, it's in EU, it's all about porn. Well, they banned the Bible.
Yeah, of course they did.
They went after the Bible website. So like I saw this user from I think they were from the UK specifically, but it's like, yeah, it says on this Bible website that because of the laws, you can't look at the Bible.
Yep.
So like for the religious mofos that keep trying to shove their values down everyone's throats, yeah, your Bible is going to probably be included in this ban because there is pretty spicy writing up in there.
Again, like it doesn't ever matter it's like the people who started all this banning stuff,
Mm-hmm.
It's like the woke mob that made it even worse. Created cancel culture around it. It wasn't enough just to take the product away. We had to destroy the person behind it now. And now you have it. Now you have it being exacted on people all over the globe, left and right, because of this permission to do this. And that's why it's swung back around. So you really believe in your heart of hearts that it won't swing back around again and cause the Bible to be banned? That you won't be able to show your religion in public? Because again, if you've got the power now, that means somebody else is going to get the power later.
That's what people are just not thinking about either. And that, like,
Right.
it's like with what's happening with I don't want to get too political, but I got to in this case. I see so many people that want like Trump to have all this power. It's like, dude, there's something called checks and balances that exist.
Yep.
Our former employee, by the way, our former coworker said that the Constitution is basically just a piece of paper and it has no power.
Well, I mean, you become a nihilist. That is true. That it is a piece of paper, because the only reason that legitimizes any law on earth, even God's law on earth, is man's will to go along with it. And again, God can smite you, God can destroy your life, blah, blah, blah. But unless you submit to the Bible, to Jesus, to the way of God or Yahweh or Allah, you're not like that. It's just paper, because it has no meaning to you. It's like the atheist. The atheist has no respect for these books. If they are destroyed in front of him, he doesn't feel bad about that. You might feel bad that the book is being destroyed, but he's not any more affected one way or the other about it. Again, atheist, I'm using this as like the supreme kind that would be the true atheist, not anybody you know or I know or anything like that. This is just the example general atheist that would be unaffected by religious texts being destroyed.
Yeah.
And that's just what it is. So the Bible itself is a piece of paper unless man submits to it. See, that's the point of free will that our friends, John Trent, John De La Rose, and the kind that follow them kind of miss. This is why it's a satanic agenda to enforce this mankind will rule the earth thing. It's not how it works. The whole process is to submit. And you can't rule and submit at the same time. Ta-da!
But I think what they're doing is and trying to like push all the censorship and push their religion on everyone is a lot more satanic than anything else.
Absolutely. The Satanists are the same way. They operate under the same prerogative. If you don't do what I do, then you're going to the place that I don't think is good. Now, there's bad hell for the Satanists, punishment for doing things that you're not supposed to do. Granted, the Satanist doesn't have much, but there are things that are taboo to the Satanist. And again, we are not into this thinking when we're talking about this, that religion is some neutral thing here. What we're trying to talk about are people like the Islamists in Dearborn, Michigan, that are taking their faith and implementing that into political power. This is what's happening with the porn bans. You want to know why Michigan wants to go all the way? I guarantee you it's because of the Muslims there.
Well, it's actually a Christian nationalist that's the one that's pushing it. So it's
I don't doubt that he's pushing it, but I'm positive that those Dearborn Muslims are right behind him on it, because their faith calls for the eradication of that media as well. So
yeah,
it's one of those things where, like I explained last week, is that our separation of church and state was to institute no Christian had any more power over another Christian, because they were dealing with so many different sects at that time that's the whole reason why this came to be, is that the Baptists wrote to Jefferson for protection against the Catholics that were getting established in Maryland. So they were worried. They were like, hey man, the last time we wrangled with the Catholics, they told us we couldn't do our thing, man. We had to go start a whole new damn country. Are we going to do this again? And Jefferson was like, well, technically they can't do that. And that's where this whole argument started from. And that's what I want to stress, is that, like, from the beginning, we wanted to make sure that God was the one who determined how you got into heaven, not the state.
Yep.
Okay? That was from the get-go. The whole reason why we came here, why those assholes landed in Plymouth Rock in the first place.
Let's escape religious persecution.
Exactly. Because everywhere they went, they were being told, you can't do what you're going to do. The Puritans putting kids in sacks, it made people feel weird, as it should. And so, to test them, to make sure that they were pure, But that's where getting in the sack came from, by the way, if you don't know. Thanks, Puritans. So
irony, isn't it?
Oh, it's beautiful, but again, that's what started this whole thing, was the quest to make sure that you and God were able to sort out how you got into heaven, not how your neighbor did.
But these people want to like go back into like the 1600s and force their will onto people.
And it comes from a state of frustration because we're just done communicating with each other. The left girded up into this attitude of like, we are the people that are on the right side of history. You are all the evil things in the world. And then the right said, you've been calling me all the evil things in the world for 20 years. Here I am, all the evil things in the world. Now what? And it broke. You can only browbeat people so long before they finally say, fine, I will be that thing you fear and shut you up finally. And that's unfortunately where all this is stemmed from. You know, it's where a lot of people kind of get the idea that South Park is censoring itself with all these delays.
But it's not. Like if you've been in the fandom long enough, like I've been watching South Park since the very beginning. You know that Matt and Trey just don't give a fuck what anyone thinks. They're going to do their art their way. And the only time that episodes were either pulled or banned was because of the network.
Yep. Well, and like this is another situation where these guys are what, in their 50s now?
I think so. And they have families too.
Yeah. Well,
I know. I think is it Matt that is on his second wife? Or is it Trey? I think it's Trey that's in his second marriage, and it was his current wife that went on had to defend them.
Both of these guys are over 50,
and with kids, mind you, married with kids.
Trey Parker is 55 years old.
Mm-hmm.
He's AARP candidate age, so I mean, like, I don't think there's too much South Park humor left in there. You know what I mean? Because
the real world is becoming a South Park simulator at this point. So there's plenty here, plenty to do. It's just they got to figure out what they want to do.
Well, ask yourself though, is there? Because like South Park has done just about every joke there is about political figures and all that stuff, and it's kind of become evident with what they're doing with this new season. And I'm not trying to protect Trump. What I'm trying to say is that we have 22 years of The Simpsons now, more than that. 32 years or something of The Simpsons now.
They came out in 89, so like 36.
Yeah, so like 36 years of The Simpsons, okay? And naturally, South Park isn't too much further behind that. It's not that South Park isn't as rich of a world as The Simpsons, but those guys chewed through a lot of comedy really quick. And I don't think that there's much for those kids to do or say anymore. Not that commentating on the new stuff isn't funny, but it just doesn't have any relevance anymore. I mean, when was the last time that South Park put out anything that stayed longer? I think that was the last one was the put a chick in it and make her gay. And you got to go back to...
Oh, no, there was Lizzo, too. Remember the drug Lizzo?
No, that one didn't get to me.
That one got to a lot of people. But
South Park,
South Park, that episode or that special was freaking hilarious because you had the sugar mafia, the sugar cereal mafia getting together and trying to take down Ozempic and shit. And the boys were making their own version of Ozempic to help Cartman. Like if they're not doing enough stories like focused on the boys, because when they do, that's when like it's completely magical. And there's also stuff with because PC Principles now is a Christian, a hardcore Christian now. They haven't touched upon like the stuff with him and Strong Woman and the PC babies. Like I want to see that. I hope they do that since he's become like a uber Christian.
Oh, the turnaround is fair play. Well, and again, I mean, like that's kind of the thing is that like we're talking about this as like this is what we have for ideas. I can't imagine these guys are having too much more luck. Because like I said, how many more times are you going to make a joke about China? How many more times are you going to make a joke about Iraq, Afghanistan? How many more jokes are you going to make about Americans being dumb? How many more jokes are you going to make about this president or that penis or that penis? It's just one of those, it's Family Guy's problem too. Like,
I think Family Guy has it worse than South Park though. South Park, I think because of how South Park's production is now, I think it's a little bit easier compared to something like Family Guy or The Simpsons.
Probably. Yeah.
Because they do their episodes in batches. Whereas South Park, what they do is they make it like that week.
Right.
So
And so that makes it a bit more like relevant to what's going on. But
yeah.
that's what we're getting at here is that they've come out and said, hey, another episode's been delayed. It was not ready in time. It will be pretty neato bandito when it comes out. So there we go. That's good for them, I guess. Like I said, I think
People
it's probably
still don't
time to draw
believe
it down.
People
Well, of
still
course
don't believe
not.
them though. They keep saying that it's like, oh, because Charlie Kirk was going to be killed in the episode. They're not going to kill Cartman.
That's not even their style anymore.
That's not their style at all. No, it's not.
You know, killing Kenny was a joke. You know, and killing Kenny every episode was a joke.
And killing Chef was a statement to the Scientologists.
Well, yeah. They had their reasoning for wiping out characters, and even the characters that made brief appearances and things like that. They had their reasoning, but again, like they made fun of Charlie Kirk and then they moved on. They didn't dedicate 10 episodes to making fun of him. So killing the character in a random episode is not going to solve anything. Building up to that moment would have been, you know, what they were up to, but there's no evidence they were building up to that moment.
Nah,
so,
I think it was just a one-off thing.
Of course it was, because even Charlie admitted when he was reacting to it that this is because he had made headlines, and that's why they were doing it, is because he had surfaced in a way that caught their attention. Because like you said, every week they make a new episode. It's not 20 episodes a year, you know? So we have this situation with them coming out and having to explain this and people theorizing it's because of the censorship and whatnot. But, you know, we can't even say that that's the case, because what ended up happening on the other end of this was Jimmy Kimmel got his job back at ABC. So Disney came through and they were like, hey, our good pal Jimmy Kimmel, who gets all these views and all these ratings, and all the people are watching him through the night because he is just the golly gosh darn funniest guy that ever funnied. Well, we're giving him his job back. We gave him a week off, kind of like that James Gunn guy. Give him a week off, told him go somewhere nice, talk to some Filipino boys, have a great time, and come on back.
Well, I think in this case, though, you had a bunch of celebrities like coming out for Jimmy Kimmel.
Well,
and also Disney stock went down like hella.
Like Jimmy Kimmel celebrated when Tucker Carlson got iced. So I can't pretend that this is any kind of like justice. Because Jimmy's not getting that many ratings. I think it tallied it at like 175,000 people were watching Jimmy, according to the last Nielsen ratings or whatever. So like nobody. There were people, like nursing homes that had this on. That was it. Like old people were sleeping or pooping their pants while Jimmy Kimmel was on. So they're doing this purely out of the political move because he is one of their agenda spreaders. And that's what he is. He's a good boy. He's a loyal boy. And he got a little too loyal. So they gotta let the world know that they poo-pooed him. As it says, last Wednesday, we decided to suspend production on the show to avoid further inflaming a tense situation at an emotional moment for our country. It was a decision we made because some comments felt ill-timed and insensitive. We spent the last few days in thoughtful conversations with Jimmy, and after them, we've decided to return the show on Tuesday. So they cleaned out everything out of that studio. So they were obviously pretty serious about this to begin with. This wasn't a stunt from the get-go. So at some point, somebody higher up than the people who fired Jimmy came through and said, hey, cut that out. Give that guy his job back. And they're going to pay for that. They are going to pay for that. They already did. Disney lost something like $12 billion, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
3 billion? 3 billion on Jimmy? And they're going to lose more. 4 billion. They lost 4 billion overnight in people unsubscribing from
Disney Plus.
From Disney Plus and the various other Disney affiliated subscription services. So again, don't care. They don't care when the right unsubscribes from their stuff, so screw it. Whatever.
Exactly.
Let it go. And again, Jimmy Kimmel is not bringing in big views. He's not selling anything to anybody at all. What he is he's a loyal boy. All right. He's a good boy. He's a good, loyal boy. And so they put him to work and he talks to nobody about nothing. And that's that, because he's part of an institution that has not changed since 2005, 2009. Hasn't changed.
Something like that.
Nothing has changed about Hollywood since then. Absolutely nothing's changed. You can tell with the CGI. Nothing has changed. And he's part of that. This is the same guy that was part of the Man Show, by the way, that went around air humping women in public on camera, all this sexualization of women. And now he's a champion of women's rights and the left and all of their fun little justice is ours. We're on the right side of history attitude, right? And so that's why Jimmy got his job back, because he's a loyal boy. He's loyal. You know as well as I do, they don't care if 170,000, they don't care if 1 million people went out and did some shit and said some bad things about Disney to respond to this. They don't care. Look at all the people they screwed over with their Star Wars shit. They don't care. But they do care when one of their loyal boys gets his fifis hurt. And Jimmy's a good boy. He follows the agenda.
Even though he did blackface.
Yeah. Yeah, that's another one you get away with. He did blackface, all that stuff. Everything that you would consider a cancelable thing that happens, people that they hit you up for 10, 20 years later, Jimmy Kimmel's done it all. Every last bit of it. Everything. He's even done drugs on camera, too. I think in the early days they were smoking weed on camera, him and Adam Carolla.
Yeah.
So, nope, nobody's going to touch him because he's a loyal boy. He's a loyal boy, that Jimmy. And there's celebrities to interview. And golly gosh darn, those celebrities are not going to go on YouTube streams. That's for sure. They want to go in to rip off Johnny Carson's stage and talk to him about nothing in front of nobody for about an hour and then fuck off. So, but that's the way it is. And I hope Jimmy Kimmel picks up a gazillion viewers after this. I hope all the people that raised hell with Disney decide to follow through with their words and become the biggest Jimmy Kimmel fans in the universe. I want him getting more views than Asmongold by the minute. You understand? Good luck. So that brings us around to more things that are happening in the world. As from the bad news about Jimmy Kimmel's ratings, we have the good news about Demon Slayer kicking even more ass now.
Yep, it broke the record for the worldwide box office for anime, for an anime movie, which is just bonkers. And something that's happened in Japan is Chainsaw Man Rise, which came out there. It took Demon Slayer down. So I'm hoping that we'll see a boom when Chainsaw Man Rise comes here to, the US. Sony's got to be looking at this, because this is a Sony movie. Sony's got to be looking at this and be like, okay, we can do, if this is going to do numbers and we're pushing it, we're marketing, we should be doing the same thing for Chainsaw Man Rise, because Chainsaw Man has a huge fandom here in the West, especially. So it'll be interesting to see what the numbers are going to be for this. And also something that I do want to mention as well is the director, Tatsuya, who took over, he's the director of Black Clover. He emphasized in a couple of interviews that he wanted to make Chainsaw Man Rise look as close to the original work as possible. And he basically undid the damage that was caused by the realistic approach that the previous director did. So it looks fantastic. Fujimoto said they went to a screening a few weeks ago and they loved it. And there's more, like, the fights are going to be extended. And I think there's even a little bit more additional content from what I understand. But this is like seeing this and seeing how much Tatsuya really, really cared about this movie. It just makes me like hopeful that we'll see more from these directors. And the reason why I think Chainsaw Man Rise is going to do well in the West, especially if there is marketing, is because of the Pachita popcorn bucket that came out, or that's been revealed. So that's going to definitely get people in theaters and in seats. And I'm hoping the other thing, I don't know if you saw this or not, Cider, but Taylor Swift, her, like, I think it's a concert or something like that. She basically said, screw you, Hollywood. We're just going to go directly to the theaters themselves. And I'm hoping that's going to be the case for more anime movies. I hope they just say, fuck you, Hollywood. We're going to go straight to an appeal to the theaters themselves.
I don't know. Again, like we have different rules here, so maybe there's a possibility that they can just do that. I know that in Japan, they have the theaters have a different way of functioning, but in the US, they're independent. So, the ones that aren't part of a chain.
Yeah.
So they're not like regulated to conform to a certain who can be in a theater and who can't be kind of delivery. But the Demon Slayer thing it's an interesting collision, okay? Because as we have here in the chat, we have Ironcaster. It's a good time to be all in on Japanese media. Common Writer is writing, hi, Demon Slayer is beating Hollywood, and now we have Chainsaw Man's coming through and participating in that. But why this matters is that Demon Slayer, unlike Chainsaw Man, is like rooted in Japanese folklore.
Yeah.
It is heavily referential of ancient Japanese spooky stories. So that matters because you wouldn't expect something that has like such a deep cultural connection to something as alien to the United States culture as Japan, because we don't have this ancient history. If we go back into the ancient times, it's Europe for us. So for Japan, this is all in-house. This is all organic, homegrown, ancient history. And so they get to talk about all the time when their ancestors were super freaked out by stuff happening in the woods. And thus Demon Slayer, so many thousands of years later. And so it is astonishing to me that the concept of a small samurai boy and his demon sister managed to grab people. Then B, a breathing style, by the way, which is yet another niche concept within sword fighting, which again is just not something that the West even contemplates. There's no widely accepted philosophy about how to control your lungs when you're swinging a broadsword, but it is in Japan. The breathing techniques are all part of how you go about your sword fighting. And so again, it's philosophies and things like that. So this is why it surprised me, is that like it is just baked in Japanese DNA. The Chainsaw Man doesn't necessarily surprise me that much as being popular here in the US, because it kind of follows us along the same line as FLCL. Guy who is like, uneventful life, comes into eventful thing, and it turns his life upside down in absurd ways. That tends to do pretty okay here in the US. There was a show that was like that was very popular here. That was because like Megas XLR was homegrown, but there was another. Bobobo. Bobobo got pretty popular here because of that insane, just shit's happening because of
Same with Space Dandy too.
Yeah, Space Dandy as well. And this is again a little bit more restrained than those stories. This isn't obviously an on its face make you laugh kind of situation, but it does, because it presents absolutely absurd characters doing absolutely absurd things, but it takes itself seriously. And that's where I think Hollywood misses the boat on this. That's where I think that's why Demon Slayer, again, was another one that came through and was more successful than Inuyasha, because Demon Slayer takes itself seriously. It's not trying to tell you any other story than boy with demon sister is trying to defeat demons. It's not trying to tell you a story about a girl falling down a well and falling in love with a dog man. So, and that's just why I think it works, is that it's just enough of what Americans understand about Japan. They have swords, they have demons, and they fight those demons. And I think it just does enough to get the Japanesey part, for people out of the way so they could get into it. And again, I don't think this was planned. There wasn't any like science behind that. It just happened to be the one that managed to get that combination of, this is what I expect out of a samurai story with demons in it, and this is what I got out of it. It's not like there's a love story about a girl and a dog man in the middle of this, And that's why Chainsaw Man does so well, is that like the Japanese always like have this unique way of taking an initial concept and
making it insane.
Yeah.
But so like the other thing though is going back into taking itself too seriously. Well, that takes away a little bit of the Japanesey part of it, because there's lightheartedness in these dark stories. Because if it's all dark all the time, it's just gonna make you depressed, and that's why like Atoge did it had that lightheartedness going on in the manga. That's why like Bleach, one of the many reasons why Kubo had so much comedy in there. People in the West might not like it, but. And then there's what was the other one I was thinking of? Chainsaw Man. Chainsaw Man has a lot of comedy up in there. It does.
Well, and again, this is what actually does appeal to Americans. The corporations just don't get. Excuse me, pardon me. The corporations just don't get that.
No.
When you're watching these movies that are attempts to translate Japanese media over, they constantly. This is what I mean about taking them seriously. So in the production of these initial concepts, they take them seriously, and that the comedy is meant to be serious in that sense. It's part of the world, right? They're not throwing it in there for the sake of, oh, we need a joke now, like Joss Whedon says. We need a joke here now. That's not it. Because I don't know how often you found yourself in a situation that was, do or die, but I happen to end up under the knife kind of often. And so I have to stare death in the eye a little more often than the average person. And you come to laugh at it. You come to laugh at whatever has brought you to that point. And so obviously there's going to be comedy in the middle of tragedy. And obviously there's going to be moments of levity when either the monster has passed or they're about to finish the monster, that sort of thing. And that's where anime tends to plant a lot of its comedy, is either in the slow moments or in the moments that are building up to the big moments is where it tends to plant its comedy. And again, where people in real life tend to plant their comedy, you'll feel the stress building up inside of you in like a tense moment when you're about to fight somebody, and then something will happen and both of you will laugh, and then it's not so tense anymore. Ta-da! That's real life. That's why I mean about serious. There's the other serious that Hollywood gets into, where they end up missing the forest for the trees with these stories right here, and try to copy what they consider to be the message here, but completely miss it because they're not taking the story seriously. Look at Dragon Ball Evolution. They took that story way too seriously, as opposed to just seriously. Whereas when we got the Pokemon movie, they didn't take the world seriously enough.
Well, that was the dub's fault. The dub did that.
No. The Pokemon movie, the live action one.
Oh, okay. Because I thought you were talking about the animated one too, because it's like, the dub kind of like didn't take itself too seriously, especially if you know the story of the actual, like, especially behind like Pokemon the first movie, for example, and V2 Strikes Back specifically, is that it when it was in development, it was like right after the Polygon situation, so like they basically let the director do what he wanted. And he created a masterpiece in terms of story. There was like religious undertones and all that. And well, because of Karens here in the US, couldn't have that.
Well, and we have Black Pilled Timon, a member of the channel here, saying the corporations don't get Western entertainment either. And that's true. It's not meant to They're not hired to get it. They're hired to tell their story, and their story sucks because they haven't lived life. It's all very frustrating, but what I'm really trying to drill down to is the fact that the Japanese corporations spend millions of dollars understanding this stuff, and the Western corporations are spending millions of dollars trying to deconstruct it. And that's what I'm trying to really drive home to everybody without beating around the bush, is that Japan's building and the West is deconstructing. And that's why it's all falling apart. And that's why it continues to miss, and why any of these live action anime things are falling on their face. That's why One Piece is coming apart at the seams. They're getting into this, and they're starting to do all the race swapping with the casting that they do. And it drives people up the wall. That's not how the anime looks. Well, that's not a person in real life. Well, great. Don't worry about that. Make it look like the anime. That's what got it to the position that it's in. Not because it looked like real life. What a surprise. And they can't fathom it because they've never lived life. They never have. Their whole entire life has existed inside of a social media bubble. They've never been out and experienced anything. And that's why this stuff has to be boiled down into weird sitcom humor. So,
well, also speaking of Japan and all that, Guillermo del Toro went to Toho to the Toho Studios. And if you go on his Twitter, you'll see him like posing with the Godzilla that's outside the studio, and he's just having a good old time. Like, there's directors like him that want people to start taking animation seriously. And it feels, I don't know if it will, if Infinity Castle will be the anime to make it, people start taking it seriously. I would like it to be. I'd like that and Chainsaw Man to be, but.
Well, again, like he took a swing at Mecha and it ended up being Pacific Rim. And while it's kind of fun, it's also lame. Because like it takes giant robots way too seriously. Again, like this is the difference between serious and seriously, I guess. I don't know how to really separate this for you guys because you're not in my head and you can't see what I see because I'm seeing it in my head. But basically what I'm trying to tell you is Hollywood looks at something and the way they take it seriously is to shit all over it, fuck it up, and make it retarded. And then when Japanese corporations look at something, they try to add wonder to it.
Yes, we used to have really this in Hollywood too. We used to have that wonder in Hollywood.
I guess. I mean, like Iron Giant's the closest one I can really come to for giant robot stories that have like some.
So good.
Yeah, it's the only one I can think of that tells the story of a giant robot that means anything. The rest of them are just like Godzilla light stories, and so it's stupid. Because they don't understand what this is what I was talking about in the video today about about Zets. Jeez, I'll spit it out right. Is that Americans just don't? American corporations flatly do not understand the concept of wonder. You know, they're not interested in any longer in creating a story that's timeless. They want a story that talks to you about the moment as soon as you walk out the movie theater. You're supposed to absorb the world. There's a message for you to take away from this. And while, yes, there is messaging in Japanese media, don't get me wrong, you can't watch any of the Studio Ghibli movies without walking away with a sense of, you know, people tend to take things too far, that kind of thing. You know, you can't watch a Gundam series without feeling like war is bad, even though giant robots are cool. But that's why the West can't produce anything like this, is because when they look at giant robots, they're like, well, how does it work? Wrong answer. It doesn't matter how the giant robot works. It does not matter how 5 cars become a 80-foot tall giant fighting robot able to ward off some nuclear fire breathing lizard. Okay? Doesn't matter. That does not matter at all. And they can't bring themselves to commit to that. They can't bring themselves to commit. Like the Voltron movie is going to be very interesting. I don't know about you, but I am very interested to find out just how they managed to take 5 space lions, 5 space robot lions, okay, piloted by teenagers in space spandex. Okay, how they take that and not screw it up. Because you remember, Power Rangers 2017 was trying to reclassify what a Power Ranger was. They were trying to tell you what don't. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what a Power Ranger is. It's a very simple concept. There's a person that's wearing this suit with that helmet, and they're doing this thing right now. That's a Power Ranger. That's all they need to know. That's it.
Well, speaking of live action adaptations, Sakamoto Days live action, a live action movie for Sakamoto Days got announced, and the trailer dropped earlier today. And the thing is, I people need to understand, if you have not watched a Japanese live action adaptation of an anime or a manga, it's a completely different story. It's a completely different experience. Like, best one, and I got Spencer and I think I even got you, Cider, into Kingdom because of this, is Kingdom's live action adaptation is fantastic. And that's because you have the mangaka there co-writing the script. Now, I don't know what's going on here per se in terms of the director wise. I know that let's see who this is director wise. So it's Fukuda Yuchi who's the director, and he's doing the screenplay. So we don't have Suzuki working on this like we see Hara working on Kingdom, or the Golden Kamui mangaka working on the Golden Kamui live action adaptation, or Kubo working on Bleach. Bleach's live action adaptation. So this will be very interesting testing to see how this goes.
Well, and again, I mean, like you were saying, people aren't used to Japanese adaptation, which does its best to fully manifest the anime into real life. As you can see right here with the fat guy character who has, I believe he's wearing a fat suit.
Yeah, he's got to be wearing a fat suit. He has to be.
Yeah. And I think he's wearing a fat suit, but they've made it sculpted to look like the character in the anime. They've given everybody the appropriate hairstyles they need. They didn't give them new hairstyles. And again, it's all about what the intent is with this. The Japanese studios have the intent of manifesting the anime that made a lot of money. The American studios have the intent of manifesting a story in the hopes that it makes a lot of money. And that's the difference in philosophy right there. So Yu Yu Hakusho's live action movie, you can go watch that right now. It's absolutely fantastic in Japan. Fantastic.
Yeah, there's Way of the House Husband as well. That live action is really good. What's the other one I was thinking of? Tokyo Ghoul's live action is really good as well. That one surprised a lot of people. But yeah, Tokyo Ghoul's live action is good. Bleach's live action is actually pretty decent. It's not as cringy as you would think it would be. Kakeguri's live action takes some liberties, but the characters look like themselves, at the very least.
Well, and speaking of cringe, we have the Mandalorian and Grogu trailer. Yay. What is this, 5 years late? Right, do you remember the Mandalorian and Grogu? I was a kid when Mandalorian and Grogu came. I was walking 15 miles uphill both ways in the wintertime. When Mandalorian and Grogu came out. We didn't have indoor plumbing when Mandalorian and Grogu came out. Oh, look, he's still babysitting. That's what we love. We love the space babysitter because that's what Mandalorians do. They are space babysitters. Oh, it's the little guy that swears a lot, but nobody knows he's swearing because he's swearing backwards. Isn't that neat? Yay, Jon Favreau's a genius. Grogu, you're gonna get your little swamp monster dress all space sewagey. Get out of there. It's that lady, and she's not really dressed very Star Wars-y.
No.
Kind of like she was just like sitting around somewhere, and they're like, here's this bullshit. Pretend you're in Star Wars. Go. Of course, that lady, she's part of the resistance because in real life, she doesn't like the current administration. That makes perfect sense. Good job. Good job, Jon Favreau. Can we make sure that Kamala Harris is part of the Star Wars resistance too, please? Just so we can just fully square the circle. It's funny because the baby wants to eat the food. Ha ha. Yeah, he's doing Oh, no, there's the baby. So the Mandalorian stuff is over because the baby's on him now, and that means the action's over. It's that thing. That thing.
Impressive.
Oh, that's Jorba. Her son. That's Jabba's son. Yeah, there you go.
This looks better than a lot of the other Star Wars projects that are out.
Can you tell?
That's a low bar. It's a low bar.
You know, like I'm sure like 5% of this wasn't filmed in the volume. Like 5%. Yeah.
Impressive.
He's got Cheetos. Yeah, you remember all those hulking 40K looking robots in Star Wars? We got them. Remember all those guys who were all over Star Wars that look like they belong in 40K? You remember those guys?
Yeah.
And there's that guy. Oh man, I'm so glad they put lizard head guy in this. That's great. That's awesome. Yeah. It's one of those things. It's the thing that from the Thing movie that had the frost and the cold. Yeah. You remember that? Do you remember the Thing?
The Thing.
Yeah. The thing on the winter planet that went kablooey because Luke tied up its feet and it fell over because the Empire sucks at forward thinking. But yeah, so Mandalorian and Grogu totally screwed that up before Luke did because nothing Luke did special. He just managed to do it on camera. That's the problem with telling all these stories, you know, that makes Luke way less interesting because he was doing all this crazy stuff. And people were like, whoa, no one's ever done this before. Psych. Everybody's done this before all the time. They do it on weekends for fun.
Yeah.
The space camel thing is dead.
Oh, God.
And the other space camels don't know. Because you can't hear an 80-foot tall space camel fall the fuck over on a mountainside. Wow, this was a trailer. That's for sure.
Yeah, it was a trailer. Sakamoto Days live action trailer looked better than this.
Wow.
And it was just only a few shots.
I mean, it should, because it actually has something to offer the world, as opposed to this. It's just like, hey, remember that thing that happened 5 years ago? We're gonna make money on it now. It's a baby still, but he's 50 years old. Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, he matures much slower. What, at like a snail's pace? In 50 years, he hasn't figured out no. Okay. But you gotta love the space babysitter. It's really nice that we have the space babysitter back, and the baby is still pressing buttons that he shouldn't press. Aha! Because everything's the same, and then Jabba's fat son's here. So.
Oh, God. Yeah, Star Wars doesn't know what it's doing.
No. I fear for Ryan Gosling's career. This could probably be the end of Ryan Gosling's career when his movie comes out. But, yeah, I mean, Ironcaster has the right idea here. He says, I'm going to stick to watching Zat, Super Sentai, and Ultraman. Thanks, Lucasfilm. Yeah, thanks, Loser Film is what they should call it. Yeah, well, Sakura Mita has it. L for Lucasfilm. Yep.
I mean, Ultraman's got a movie coming out, and I've been seeing, like, episodes, like, posted onto Twitter as well for Ultraman.
Yeah, we have another Ultraman coming out. But, so that's the Mandalorian and Grogu. Yay.
Meanwhile, there's Digimon coming in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I put that one somewhere too. Where did I put that one? Have these things spread out all over the place. One of these tabs has the Digimon. I know it does. I can feel it in my Digibone. I just don't know which one it is. Somewhere around here. But maybe. I don't know. We'll go to YouTube and watch it. I thought I had it open on Twitter, but oh well. So we're not gonna. Whoa. We are not going to listen to the sound, obviously. So there's new Digimon. And
there's this and Time Stranger, but that's the game.
Yeah, it's a new Digimon anime. Let's put it that way.
Yes.
There's a new Digimon anime, and it is, of course, Digimon-y. But the problem, I think, with this one is that they are avoiding the classic Digimon tropes with this. And I think that's probably going to be a bit of a problem for them. So,
for some people, probably.
Digimon have to bite their Digidestin, Tamer, Buddy, whatever they're calling him in this one.
That's cool with the Digi-Egg, though.
Yeah, that's how they first manifest as characters in this world. There's apparently some incursion happened that destroyed Japan. And this is the post-apocalyptic world where Digimon are in the real world as a result of that collision, that cataclysm.
It looks beautiful.
Well, it's certainly better done than Blue Lock. Let's put it that way.
Well, it's done better than Ghost Game too.
Sure.
Hopefully, oh god, I hope hopefully this doesn't end up like Ghost Game where it goes nowhere.
Now the problem is Chameleon. I think that's what his name is.
Geckomon, you mean? I think
Geckomon. Sorry, yeah, it's Geckomon. Has one of the most annoying voices I have ever. I can't isolate it obviously because there's music playing all the way through, but man, this little guy has like the most annoying voice. I absolutely hate it, and he's going to spend most of the series as a rookie, which means he's going to be using that voice, and it's awful. But one of the things that they're avoiding here is doing the whole kids being moved into another world thing. As I said, the Digimon are in our world. And
well, we had that in Tamers too, if you think about it. Where the majority of the series was in the real world, and Digimon were coming into the real world. It wasn't until like near the end where they went to the digital world.
Right. And what I'm trying to get at is that like they didn't go back and do that again for a reason. So the biggest problem with Digimon is that it's at its strength when you have the wonder of the other world. When you have the Digimon fighting in our world, it's just sort of like another Monsters in Tokyo story. There's a lot of those out there. And that's where I think this kind of has its hiccup. But like you said, it could follow Tamer's trajectory. And like it starts off here, and then they find their way into the digital world because obviously the digital world has leaked into our world, which means our world has leaked into the digital world. So it's one of those things that I have a problem with Digimon is that they can't really figure out where the Digimon are at their strength when we all know it's a digital world. Everybody likes when the kids are going around biting into apples and finding out they're raw meat. That's hilarious. That's funny. That's great. Everybody likes when the kids find Primary Village and discover that when the Digimon die, they don't really die. They come back and they are reborn as eggs. You know, unless Diaboromon is involved and your shit's fucked. But you deleted forever or whatever. And so, and everybody likes it when you find all these weird backward expressions of the real world. You know, like when the kids wandered into that city and everything was not where it belonged. It was like the back rooms, you know? And I think Digimon could probably get away with that, actually. You know, now that I said that out loud, that could probably be a pretty good Digimon story. Maybe that's what they worked into this, was that it's like the back rooms. You know?
That'd be interesting.
That would be that, you know, I get the impression that this is happening in our world, but this could be in a world that like backroomed itself into the digital realm.
Kind of like what Tamers kind of did that too, if you think about it.
A bit of it, yeah. That was kind of the premise, was that they had the government had broken a hole into the digital realm and they didn't know how to close it.
Yeah.
And that was what Tamers was about, was that government organization was just sort of involved in monitoring the shit that was coming through because they didn't really have any other way of dealing with it.
And then you had the D Reaper come into play. That storyline was so twisted. I don't think we'll ever see anything like Tamers ever again, because Tamers had it all. Tamers had the good animation. It had a really good story. You had the character dynamics were really nice. And I've heard later seasons had like a good story and stuff like that too. But it's just, there's just something, if you're going to do something in the real world, like with Tamers, it's got to be done right. And that's the best example of Digimon in the real world done right.
I can't say that anything topped Tamers, to tell you the truth. They, like I said, they were very experimental with that one, and they immediately backed off from most of the decision making there. So we never saw another character like Bazilimon show up. Maybe we'll see one show up in this one. We never saw another Bazilimon style character show up that was like remained the anti-hero, you know.
Yeah. You mean Entmon / Beelzebon?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, Beelzebon, whatever. Yeah, Impmon. He again, never saw that. We never saw a guy that ended up being like separated from his Digidestin tamer or whatever. We never saw that either happen again. So it could do that, because like Toei has admitted to this. I think Toei's distributing this. So I think
Toei's distributing and animating it.
Yeah, so they're obviously aiming for a wider market. So this will probably take a lot of inspiration from the back rooms. It's probably been around long enough. that the backrooms have been around for like 4 years now. So yeah, that's probably leaked over to Japan by now. And it's it's a good concept. And like I said, the way I read this is that the Digimon were in our world, but it could very well be that the whole Earth got sucked into the digital world, and that could be what's going on here. So
That would be an interesting twist.
yeah, for once they're just all in the same place. There's no mistaking it. So, but we have that, and that's always great news that there's Digimon in the world. Even though we have our critiques about it, it's still good to see. But what's not great to see is how Visa is working on using digital frontiers and digital tracking devices to follow your biometric data in order to make sure they know where you are spending your money.
What's scary is who it's endorsed by. It's endorsed by the UN, the EU, the WEF, and Bill Gates. I think that's kind of scarier to me.
Yeah, that last one especially. Yeah. So there you go. You got Bill Gates behind this. You know it's going to be awful and the work of demons. And because again, this is another way of tracking what you're doing so they can stop you from doing it. Why else do they need to know what you're spending on? Why else do they need to tie your biometric data to your accounts? You see, the thing about this whole these accounts being hacked and things like that, it is actually easier to fix than they tell you. But they don't want to fix this because it means actually having to hire people that monitor this stuff and not having a computer do it. And that's why they're moving over to the biometric stuff, because the biometric data is easier for the AI to like identify and consistently identify than an off chance that you were buying coffee in California and 10 minutes later you need $10 million in Moscow. You know, the AI can't tell if that's real or not.
Yeah.
You know, and that's where they want to do this biometrics, because a human will know that your stuff is being stolen. They can tell that, but they don't want to hire people to do that because that costs money, and you have to train them, and that takes time, and they don't want to do that. So they want the AI to be able to monitor this stuff, but it doesn't understand the nuances of human behavior, so it'll let scams through, and it'll penalize actual transactions. Thus, they want the biometrics data, because then the AI has a reliable form of identity that it can always rely on. Unless you get your finger cut off, and then in which case you can buy coffee in California and need $10 million in Moscow at the same time because your biometrics data has been scarfed by losing your finger. But whatever, you know. But that's what it is they're trying in the pursuit of, we're going to secure your data from people stealing it. We're going to make sure that it's all tied to your biometrics. Well, that means we need your face scans, your eye scans, your blood scans, your semen scans, whatever we can get scanned. We need scanned.
It's very dystopian.
That way we know it's you. Of course. You know, it smacks of the mark of the beast, but we all know that's supposed to be physical. But it smacks of it because, again, it's another, like, this is you. There's no escaping that it's you, and everybody in the government knows it.
That's why when I see all the age verification ID laws, I'm like, dude, you guys are stupid. Part of me is like, dude, this kind of violates the Fourth Amendment in a way that you're forcing people to do this. But at the same time, huh?
The fifth is the right to privacy.
Oh, sorry, the fifth. No.
Right?
Fifth is, or I thought, yeah, it's the Fourth Amendment. Fourth Amendment is right to privacy.
Oh, sorry. Fifth is the right to self-incrimination. So I guess we're kind of both right on that one.
Kind of.
So you're right that they have a right to privacy, and I'm right that you have a right to not incriminate yourself by being forced to surrender data that would otherwise put you in a bad position. So, yeah. But again, I mean, this is what we're looking at with these corporations and, of course, now the government joining hands. But with this technology, however, they can completely block off payments. They can completely block off billing.
It's social credit.
I think it's over now. But again, they can fully block this stuff off, which means, let's say they shut off your Patreon. Well, guess what? You can't go over to Subscribestar because your biometrics data is tied to why you got banned from Patreon. Ta-da! Now Subscribestar says, "Woo, you got banned over there for posting stuff that Visa says no to. You can't come over here." And what's it going to do? It's going to create a Gumroad. You remember Gumroad, Nerdigans?
I think so, yeah.
It's a contraband website,
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
So, you end up with Gumroad communities that do nothing but service very, very bad things. Because...
AKA the dark web.
Right. Well, probably even worse than what we have the dark web right now, because most of what people go to the dark web for are things that are extreme. Because of these bans, because of the Visa coming through and making sure you can't do your transactions, regular people or people who are otherwise not going to go to that dark web are going to go there. Seek that stuff. Especially because it was made into a taboo. So
but boomers don't understand that. Boomers are dumbasses and don't understand that.
Most of the boomers go through and think about this in the sense of like, I will make the thing work for me. And that's their mentality about it, is that rather than fixing the problem with the thing, they want to make the problem work for them. And so here's the problem. We have an unsecured internet that makes governments and corporations uppity because they can't control every aspect of what's happening. And there's a lot of stuff happening. And so the boomers' solution to this isn't to say, oh, well, the corporations need to get used to it because humanity happens a lot all the time and has been happening for millions of years, and we made it this far. So when we end up with these types of trackers, that defies that. That's whiny baby behavior from the corporations. They wanted to control every aspect of their product, right down to how you buy it and consume it. So it'll be the end of fan art too. This will be another one that gets rid of fan art, because I assure you, they do not like people copying, like I was talking about earlier with those Bowsette fan arts that I couldn't tell were official art or whatever associated with Bowsette, or just people drawing porn. I am sure Nintendo doesn't appreciate that. I'm positive they don't like Genshin Impact doesn't like people imitating so well their art style that they can sell fake Genshin Impact characters to people. So that, again, they'll kill fan art. That's the next thing that's going to go. You think NSFW is where they're going to stop? You think anime is where they're going to stop? No. It's your understanding of their product, because that's another problem they have. Fan fiction will be right behind that, whether you want it gone or not. Fan fiction will be right behind that, because I assure you, they do not like having all these characters fucking. They don't like that. They don't like all the Sonic fucking fan fiction. They don't like that. They don't want that to exist.
Well, that complete porn ban that's being proposed in Michigan is talking about everything. Erotica, which is written. Animated, synthetic. In the case of Blue Sky, it's synthetic too. But yeah, it's like the Tumblr rapture on steroids.
Black Pill Timon says, my mother can't use fingerprints. She doesn't have them anymore because of chalk. She was a teacher.
Oh, yeah, and again, chalk does that.
They don't care about that part. They'll just force you to use another biometrics entry, like scanning your face, scanning your eyeball, whatever. Again, it is simply about control, not security. Because if it had anything to do with security, people, human beings would be involved in it, and it just doesn't. We'll find out someday that all these hackers that break in and steal all this money are actually corporate sponsored in order to force these changes because the public is afraid. We'll find out someday that all this money has been stolen by the corporations themselves. They broke into their own stuff. They staged all of it in order to get people comfortable with the concept of losing control over their purchasing. Because Visa wants your money, but they don't want to deal with all the lawsuits that come with your money. So they want to make sure that you can only spend things that their corporate brands that they make money off of are happy with. So you can be a good little consumer. Kickstarter will probably bite it too, because they'll have to get rid of that, because that's NSFW haven. Everything in every NSFW possible is over there.
Same with Indiegogo, probably.
Yep, they'll have that. They'll have that.
It just never stops. That's like what these people don't understand. Well, they don't care because they just want their Christian utopia and have the Pope rule over us. That's what they want. So they don't even care. They don't care at all that they don't care about the slippery slope. In some cases, they'll say the slippery slope doesn't exist.
Right.
Which isn't true.
Wow. Speaking of slippery slopes, though, we do have the slippery slope of anime censorship.
Yes. Yeah, this is Vamola. Yeah, this is it. This is Vamola, who's the latest character to be introduced into the Dan anime. And I covered Dan, obviously, as this posted here. I cover it on Patreon, and I was watching the conclusion or the season finale and noticed that, wait a minute, something's not right here. I didn't know, like, the tights I thought were weird at first, but like the main thing that caught my eye was like at the hip crotch area, like how much wider it is. The breasts are like, that's probably just a bad design because it's Science Saru and they are the best studio in the world. They pushed her breasts down. They made her torso because of how the bodysuit is now cut, because it's censoring a good chunk of her body, and made her look a little bit wider in the torso. And here, this kiss, they covered her butt. They made her boobs look smaller. It's crazy. I really don't like when this type of censorship happens. That's another shot of her too, is right there. The thing with Mola's design is it's based off of like classic sci-fi movies. So like you have people saying, Science Saru fixed this design, and they want them to fix like another one of the skippier designs in Dan manga. And I'm just like, dude, no, this isn't right. Don't do that. It's just madness. It's madness. I can't believe these are tourists. These are colonizing tourists that are supporting the censorship. Let's be freaking clear. But yeah, you look at it side by side, you see like how the arms, even the arms look a lot bigger because it doesn't have the cutouts. The cutouts aren't as defined as they are in the manga. So there's like there's barely any separation between the shoulder and the arm. But I mean, look at her. She's the way that Science Saru like decided to go with character design wise is make her look wider and cover up. It's kind of the best example of this is where we saw this recently is in Vigilante Boku no Hero Academia Legals with Pop Step. Pop Step, they did the same thing. They put tights on her and censored her. And also, not just that, they covered up, they made the keyhole heart on her chest smaller so you can't see boobs either. Yeah, it's...
Well, and like we were talking about this when they were first doing that to her, is that when that manga CEO came out and said that they were going to start auto-censoring because they were just tired of having to go through and fix everything for Western corporations. So they were just going to go from the get-go with whatever the West would accept with, their Japanese design sensibilities attached. And that's what you end up with is, yeah, there's big boobs, but she is definitely, I would say that they tried to come through and human proportion her more than what you see in here. Of course, she is still very human proportioned, obviously, but.
And also the hair color's wrong too. It's supposed to be blonde, not green.
Well, they do that a lot too. Quite a few of them over the years have had their hair greened as opposed to being blonde. But moreover, I think this just has to do with the fact that the animation studio was again trying to avoid the online community that goes and undermines what the Japanese corporation believes their sales. And so this is why they've...
Yeah, but like the majority of people, majority of actual Dan manga fans are pissed about this. I've been covering Dan longer than the majority of the people that are in this fandom. I covered it before Viz got the simulpub license for it when it was still fan translations. So like when I see these people attacking, I've gotten attacked by some of these people too. I'm like, dude, I've been covering Dan longer than you've been a fan. Go fuck off. I love
think
this
the
series.
corporations. I think the corporations just look at that and they say there are less hardcore people that will be mad, like they were with Star Wars, and they just said, "We're going to ram through a censored view of this because that will satiate what we perceive to be the majority."
But there's hypocrisy here too. In first season, you saw multiple sexual assaults. They weren't censored. In this season, you saw Gigi naked. There wasn't no censorship. You saw him mostly in his underwear, yeah, but there was a scene where he was naked, so you saw his ass. It's a double standard.
Yeah, guy nudity is never treated with the same delicacy that lady nudity is. So, guy nudity is funny, girl nudity is not. And so they are again like trying to make sure that this doesn't upset our lovely friends who used to be on Tumblr, who are very concerned with everyone else's sexual proclivities, not their own, obviously. And so they made this character safe horny. She still has her boobs, she still has her relative female shape, but they made very good ensure that she was human proportioned in her curvatures. And I don't know if that's the job of an anime studio. That's the thing. I just don't think that's what anime studios should be busying themselves with. Maybe they should just bring the character as it exists through and save themselves the trouble. But whatever.
Well, part of it is also Japanese TV regulations too. They've gotten, what people have told me, they've gotten stricter over the years.
Well, real life nudities. Yeah, that one's different.
I think this is in a late night. You guys could correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but I think Dan to Dan is in a late night slot for Japanese TV. So that makes it even more confusing on why they would censor her when it's in a late night slot. Same thing with Bleach with Orihime, with the what's her name? Damn it. Crap, I can't remember her name off the top of my head. But there is a scene in Bleach that Kubo pushed to get Bleach into a late night slot specifically for this scene. And they from what I found, it just never made it there. They just completely took it out.
Well, again, I mean, they're trying to deal with the Erika Yoshidas of the Japanese media culture as well as in the world.
Yeah, the whole thing with Erika Yoshida is so bizarre, but yeah, Japanese fans are pissed. I haven't checked the latest update, but the last time I checked, it was like at 200, but it's probably higher now.
Yep, it's up to 536 now.
Yeah.
So here it is in English. It says this is a change.org petition that originates in Japan. And it says, or at least it originates in Japanese language, let's put it that way. And so we demand that screenwriter Erika Yoshida step down from her role as scriptwriter for the second season of the anime Bocchi the Rock, remove her name from the credits for the first season, and apologize to the original author.
I think the second demand is too much. That's too much. Like having her removed from the second season and apologizing to the author, that's fair. But like just having her straight up removed from the credits for the first season when that's her work, like, nah, I don't agree with that.
That might be the gamble. Is they might be going for like two reasonable things and one unreasonable thing. And that'll make the reasonable things more reasonable by comparison.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll get an apology out of her, rather, because she's one of those. She's a feminist that felt so girded in her ways that she was going to go and speak about this job that she has in such a manner as to make people who appreciate the media that gave her that job seem unclean. So you can't have that attitude and work in an industry that relies on, the media that made everybody's job possible continuing being made in the way that made that media possible to hire all those people. This is where it falls in the heads of a lot of these activists like Erika, because they don't realize you don't have a job because you're good at what you do. You have a job because Bocchi the Rock needed to be adapted into an anime. And you were the one that they could hire for this. You were the talent they could find to hire this. That's why you have a job. It's not because they needed somebody on the staff. It's because this product existed and needed to be made into an anime. That's why Erika has a job. It's not because she has a talent at this stuff. That could be part of it, right?
Yeah.
Went to school for it, qualified, whatever you want to go for it. But the reason why she has a job is because Bocchi the Rock exists in the form that it does. That's why I have a problem with that Dan to Dan change. You think about what you want, of whether or not she's supposed to look like that, big, small boobs, big, small butt, whatever. The character existed in that anime that made that manga so popular, right? And so beloved that you should just move the design over, right? Because that makes sense. You did that with the freaky face guy who's the lead character in that. So, you know, maybe the things that made that property popular are worth bringing over. Erika doesn't think so. That's fan service. That's noise.
That's what noise is. Well, to a lot of these people that are going after Dan to Dan, they're saying it's noise too. Because they can't see the difference between fiction and reality. And from what Erika's interview that I saw and actually wrote an article on, it's just she's more focused on making stuff appropriate for her son to watch, or his, her son's age group to watch, which is not the right approach to do, especially for an adaptation like this. If it's your own property, go crazy. But if you're adapting someone else's property, that isn't cool.
And again, that's how they work. They, like Star Wars, like with Transformers, like with all of them there, they get in and the agenda is more important than the product. The product is a vehicle for the agenda. It doesn't matter who made it, why they made it, and how well the fans enjoyed that. That product is now their personal plaything for their personal politics. And that's what Erika Yoshida exercised over Bocchi the Rock. And that's what led to this. So.
And also we're seeing this because we've been, going through English dubs. We're definitely seeing it in the English dub localizations. They are putting their agenda, their memes, their fan fiction, and hell, there's cultural erasure in some of these dubs. And I'm just like what? Yeah, here's the Dan to Dan dub. Like, I need to finish going through that one. I just went through a random episode. I was like, yeah, I gotta look into this. I just went through today's Witch Watch, and oh my god, there is some crap in there. Holy crap. But Witch Watch is just, that dub is just bad, period. That sub gets affected sometimes too. And also the Viz localization is very hit or miss with Witch Watch. Same with Dan to Dan. Dan to Dan's localization is very hit or miss too. This is why I wish the fan translators would have kept working on this one and working on Dan to Dan, because I hate Viz's localization for Dan to Dan. But yeah.
So speaking of hating the changes, we have Cacao.
Oh, so for those of you that don't know about like how manga decks got taken down and now comics get taken down, the Korean company Cacao, who owns like Webtoon and stuff like that, they like just straight up bragged that they were responsible for taking down comics, which a lot of people are furious about. And the fans definitely responded by review bombing the hell out of this app, the Cacao app. It is glorious. Good. Like, look at this tweet. It's so unprofessional. Like, why would you do that?
Yeah, again, it's them, being, we saw this with the Assassin's Creed account going out and dunking on Elon.
Yeah.
It's why, if people have been looking at the Bounding account and wondering why we're not engaging in the Charlie Kirk conversations, because of that. Bounding as a property has nothing to do with Charlie Kirk. There may be people who are interacting with the Charlie Kirk announcement that are part of the content that we cover, and we may go on to cover that stuff. But we're not intensely following, reporting rather, what's going on with Charlie Kirk, because it has nothing to do with us. It's a terrible thing that happened. We don't enjoy anybody prancing around having a happy time about it, and we certainly don't appreciate anybody making threats one way or the other about it. But this has nothing to do with what we cover, and that's why we're not doing it. We're not using our corporate control, like Spencer and I are not using our corporate control as a platform to go telling you how to feel about what happened there, or any political situation. We make jokes. Trump was an intro here for a while because, again, it was part of the zeitgeist. It was the thing that was going on. I'm not here to tell you how to feel about this stuff. Erika Yoshida, Cacao, they want to come out, people running that account anyway, let's put it that way, the social media manager for Cacao, they want to come out and tell you how to feel about things. They want to come out and take a victory lap over your losses. And that's what you're looking at here, is that same attitude that, like, oh, hey, I'm going to use this corporate account that in no way belongs to me to exercise this way, and I'm going to go out there and I'm going to style all over this thing that the people who already support my media also supported. And I'm going to act surprised when that audience gets mad.
Especially since, like, the reason why a lot of people are going to comics or other or Magadex is another example, or various pirate sites, is because in the case of Cacao, there's not enough enough manga. It's not globally available. So we want to read it. Like a good example, Solo Leveling Ragnarok. It's not even licensed in the it doesn't have an official English license, which I'm still surprised about. And I love I covered Solo Leveling manga for a long time, and I was looking forward to Ragnarok, and I'm glad I'm able to read it. It's so good. Same with Tower of God. Tower of God in Webtoon, for example, and same with God of High School too, when it was going on. They are so goddamn behind on it. And people wanted to, like, be up to date with it and read it, like, as it was being released in South Korea. And yeah, they don't do that. They don't listen to the fans at all, which really is a damn shame.
What a surprise. Corporation doesn't listen to the people who,
like, that's proof that this is their actual account. Like, this is the copyright infringement response team. That is not the way to act.
Right.
You don't do that. That is so unprofessional.
Well, there's no reason to do this. You just take the down and deal with it. Visa, even as evil as they are, didn't take a victory lap for knocking down all of those manga sites. So, but I think that brings us to the end of it, right? That's all of it.
Well, in regards to Jimmy Kimmel, there's an update that Sinclair Broadcast Group is not going to air Jimmy Kimmel's show. I guess there's still talks behind the scenes in regards to that, but there is that update. Okay. But yeah, in terms of, we didn't talk about Dragon Quest. I forgot about that. So just
where did I put that one? Oh boy, somewhere. Had it open. I know I did. There it is. And Dragon Quest. So bring that back up. There it is.
So Dragon Quest VII Reimagined is doing a lot of new things. They are, from what I've read, they're changing up the story because a lot of people were saying the story was really long and it was a pain to get through. But yeah, they're changing it to make it a little bit easier for players. I don't know how to feel about it personally. I don't like when content gets changed to make it easier for people because it's all about the challenge for me. But especially when it comes to, like, JRPGs. But they're doing things like they're doing moonlighting here, which I think is going to be really interesting. They also added a new vocation for Monster Master, like a Monster Tamer Master kind of thing, which I think is a nice touch. And that's in the second tweet. This looks so nice, though. It does. Considering, from what I read, they are using dolls for the character designs and kind of doing like a doll world. So there it is. There's also a new Monster Master vocation that allows you to summon monsters during battle, that is pretty sick.
Well, it makes fighting monsters easier. It's like magical Pokemon now. So
it's true.
That's neat. Hey, it's at least a tasteful idea on how to do magic Pokemon. So hopefully they won't get sued.
Hopefully.
But, we'll have to wait. And Dragon Quest was seeing what was happening to Power World, and they were like, hold my Pokeball. So
then there's also, like, they censored one of the female characters, which I know Spencer wrote about. It's it's unfortunate because in that situation, from what I've heard, it's more so to do with Sero than anything else. And Square Enix is being a dumbass and not like upping the age range or upping the age rating. That's why we're seeing censored designs in Dragon Quest, unfortunately. Hey, get out of there.
Timon asks, can Pokemon sue? No, they're not using a spherical deploy device, and they're not using Pokemon-like designs. This appears to be like...
it's like a summoning thing that you'd see like in Final Fantasy.
Yeah, I assume you defeat a monster, and then it becomes part of your ability, your summoning ability, like your Pokédex, I guess. But no, it won't be because Pokemon's hitting Pow World over the spherical deployment device, the designs, and the dog fighting. Maybe I don't know about that last one, but they're hitting them over the spherical deploy device, where they had the ball, and they're hitting them over the designs. So that's neither of one.
Too.
Well, now the mods, yeah, and so that's none of the problem with Dragon Quest, so it doesn't look like they're going to have any problem. But it is kind of neat that they tried to do something with that. Maybe you'll find a Dragon Quest that does get closer to the Pokemon style, where you have these monster tamers that are competing against each other.
That would be pretty
their
cool.
Summoning skills. But odds are you won't, because the Japanese corporations don't like to play with fire like that. It's usually the Americans that are like, this is kind of like that thing. So,
yeah.
The Chinese are more apt to do it, though. They're the ones that
Chinese don't give a fuck.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say this too. The majority of pirates that I know, they're just like they're so confused by all of this. In terms of the sites getting, they're more furious than anything else, because I think Japan knows it pretty damn well that pirates actually do buy a lot of merch. They support the properties a lot more than I think people realize, because a lot of people who pirate, they read it because they want to see if they want to own it or not, own a physical version of it or not. So it's especially in the case of Manhwa, it's like, dude, you're getting free marketing, and because of pirates, properties get licensed. I said it before. Gachi Kuda got licensed in Chainsaw Man, and I think Jujutsu Kaisen was already licensed at the time. I can't remember. No, Jujutsu Kaisen wasn't licensed until had an official simulpub until 2019, when the Shonen Jump app launched.
Well, again, I mean, think about it. When you come across this anime you haven't seen before, odds are it's a screenshot from somebody who pirated it. Odds are it is a like saved page of the pirated manga. Most of the people who pay for this stuff usually don't bother screenshot or posting a page. It's quite a hassle, to scan this stuff, to take a picture of it with your phone even. It's kind of a pain in the ass, and that's why a lot of people don't do it. The pirates do. And in my opinion, that's how a lot of people find this media now, as I've talked about routinely even tonight. The ad blockers are the biggest hurdle for these companies in order to reach their clientele, in order to reach the consumers. And the way around an ad blocker is genuine conversation. And there's your pirate that's acting. Like I've told you guys before, they should just own the pirate sites. Build the pirate sites and put the stuff on it that you're okay with going around. And ta-da! I'm guaranteeing you won't have the kind of problems that you're dealing with, the corporations are dealing with right now, if they owned the pirate sites,
Yeah, and if they actually hired the fan translators, I think people would be would be way more trusting too, because as I said, you have Viz who's botching localizations all the freaking time. You got Kodansha is. Oh, I hate what Kodansha does. They changed some of the terms in the series, and also the titles that they choose, like for Ranger Reject, for example. I fucking hate that stupid title that they did. And fans just, the same with God's Cafe Terrace. Fans reject it. They're just gonna go with what they started with, and that is the fan translation. And it just baffles me that Kodansha is just nah, we're not gonna do that. We're gonna do something else. Square Enix does it too. It is so freaking annoying. I hate Square Enix localizations too. Thank God that Yen Press is doing the localizations for Black Butler and for Kakiguri, because I really, really, really hate Square Enix localizations almost as much as no, Seven Seas is the worst. Square Enix is not that far behind, I think. No, Square Enix doesn't put except for like My Dress Up Darling, there's a few of them. They don't put memes like Seven Seas localizers do. That's Katrina that works there too. So, and now she's in Tokyo working for a Japanese game company. So be prepared for more memes.
When the show's over and the folks want to hear more about your opinions on stuff, where do they find you?
You can find me on Nerdigans Inc., where I cover anime and manga every day. On Patreon, patreon.com/packergirl, we finished our coverage of Dan to Dan and My Dress Up Darling season 2. Witch Watch is ending on Sunday, and then something that I'm starting to think about doing is covering Infinity Castle, because I do have a copy of it, so I might cover it. And then I'm figuring out for fall which series I am going to cover on Patreon. Digimon I'm definitely covering. I just got to make sure that I'm not like covering a lot of series in the same day, because then I will get burned out, and that will just not be fun.
Right.
You can if you follow my Twitter here, at Packergirl, we are covering like everything else. It's insane. Katie, be quiet. We're posting like our dub comparisons on there, and it's the insanity I'm finding is just unbelievable. I haven't done NerdyCast for the past couple of weeks. I might do it this week. I probably should just do it this week and talk about like, fall or summer anime winding down and what I'm going to choose to cover for fall. I'll probably do that on, I might do it on, I might push it to like Friday or Saturday or something like that, because Thursday I want to watch football. But for Bounding, I have the Erika Yoshida article that is coming up. I have what was the other one? I'm doing the Famola, the Dan article, and then when A Couple of Cuckoos season 2 dub is done, then I will have that article done. Because God, that dub gets worse by the episode. It is insane. And of course, I don't know what Cider, Jacob, and Spencer would want to do. If they would want to do like Digimon reviews, I'd be down for that. Because I think all of us are going to be watching Digimon at the very least.
Who knows? Maybe.
That'd be fun. But anyways.
We'll see what we come up with, especially in order to have the community involved with it, especially. And like I said at the top of the show, make sure you check it out over there on boundingintocomics.com. We have a community tab. Make sure you click on that and discuss what's going on in the world. Channel's always got stuff going on. And as always, though, keep a cool head out there. There's a lot of stuff to get mad about. And